Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Motorsports for the Chinese Grand Prix. Of course, we are here in Shanghai for round 5 of the 2024 season in the Formula 1 calendar, and we are all on the grid waiting to get going for the Chinese Grand Prix. Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez in that Red Bull team, both at the front of the grid right alongside each other. If you watched qualifying yesterday, you would have seen that was almost looking like not a possibility. It was all hectic right at the end of qualifying in Q3. We had some significant changes throughout the entire thing, each person going over the line and pushing themselves further and further up as we got to the end of that session there. And yeah, really frenetic right at the end. But then we did have both Red Bull drivers out front and in the end starting on the front grid. We then have Fernando Alonso, incredible qualifying for him yesterday. He finished up there in 3rd. Then it was the two McLarens, Lando Norris in 4th, Piastri in 5th. And then 6th and 7th were Leclerc and Sainz in those Ferraris. George Russell in his Mercedes only in 8th. Hülkenberg in 9th, and Valtteri Bottas doing very well to get into Q3 as well in 10th position. Going further down the grid, of course, Lance Stroll in the other Aston Martin was in 11th position away from his teammate who's up in 3rd. Ricciardo in 12th position for RB. Quite significantly further ahead than Yuki Tsunoda, who had a terrible qualifying yesterday with a couple of issues in Q1 as well, which he couldn't apparently recover from. Ocon in 13th position for Alpine. 14th was Alexander Albon in that Williams, which they're hoping they're going to do half decently in the race and challenge for points, but it's going to be quite a tough one for him. And in 15th, Pierre Gasly in the other Alpine. Then 16th was home driver Zhou Guanyu, who just missed out on Q2 for his the first ever Chinese driver in F1 to also not just be in F1, of course, but to have a home Grand Prix in China. So the crowds, of course, very much in support of him, but unfortunately not able to get anywhere further up than 16th position. 17th was Kevin Magnussen, which is quite low down compared to Hülkenberg, who's up in 9th. Hamilton, of course, the big talking point in qualifying yesterday. Terrible qualifying for him. He couldn't make it out of Q1, and he only finished up there in 18th position for Mercedes. 19th again, as I said, it was Yuki Tsunoda in the RB car. And 20th, the usual stock standard, Logan Sargent from Williams. So that is our 20 drivers where they feature on the grid. Everybody's getting ready for racing. Now, the interesting thing about China is the first turn. The first turn is a big one, because as we saw yesterday in the sprint qualifying, whoever's on the inside line has a significant advantage. Now, that is Sergio Perez compared to Max Verstappen. We saw yesterday Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton on the front of the grid in the sprint race, and Lewis Hamilton got the upper hand on Norris, who'd actually started on pole because Lewis Hamilton had the inside line. Now, Perez has got the inside line this time around, and Verstappen will be following him around, which means if Perez does something similar to Lewis Hamilton and forces Verstappen a little bit wide, Alonso, Norris, Piastri, they could all pounce on the opportunity and try and get past. We might even see the Red Bulls really fighting to turn 1, because we know Sergio Perez is going to be wanting to try and get as many points here as possible, try and stay ahead of Max Verstappen for a long period of time here, which means that we might see a little bit of fighting between those two Red Bulls. And if anything happens there, everybody else will be waiting to lick their lips and take advantage of the situation, especially Fernando Alonso, those McLarens, and the Ferraris might be also looking at an opportunity there as well. But Mercedes, I think they're going to look at this Grand Prix and try and do damage control here. They're not doing very well in terms of their starting positions. George Russell, the highest, in 8th. Hamilton in 18th. So very low down for Mercedes. So they're going to have to try and pull something out of the fire here, especially for Lewis Hamilton, in terms of trying to get some points and trying to get something from this Grand Prix. Weather is very cloudy. The wind doesn't seem to be picking up too much, but it is very cloudy, very much. You can't see anything other than just pure cloud, though it doesn't seem like it's going to be cause for rain later on, which means I think we're only going to see a dry race. So the conditions shouldn't change. It means that we can see proper strategies being put in, not any last minute and interesting changes for pit stop strategies and otherwise. So we'll have to see what happens here. The hard tire and the medium tire will be favored. We'll be interested to see which tire people start on. We might well see Lewis Hamilton start on those soft tires like we saw George Russell do yesterday to try and get further up the grid. But as we saw with George Russell, didn't really make that much of a difference. So one imagines that we might actually only see him start on the medium tire or the hard tire, just to see if he can go longer into the race than those around him. So yeah, starting tire is going to be crucial here for a few drivers. And also pit stop strategies in general. It's quite a long track. It's quite a long Grand Prix. So it's going to be a long test for these drivers in terms of their endurance within these cars. A small mistake could be hugely costly. Of course, a traditional circuit here has a lot of gravel around it, which means if the tires do go into it, that's going to wreck the tires a bit and then causes an extra pit stop that they might not have wanted to. So yeah, we'll have to wait to see what will happen in this Grand Prix. But let me know in the comment section, of course, what you think is going to happen, who you're supporting, and where you're watching from. If you guys haven't told me already, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Like the video, of course, before the Grand Prix starts, and check out the channel description as well for our channel partners, especially BITDEFENDER. Forever Motorsports uses BITDEFENDER for all its cybersecurity needs. It gets award-winning cybersecurity in the description. Clicking that link, and you'll be sent to a affiliate page, and you'll get a big discount as well for BITDEFENDER to protect your mobile devices and all other electronic devices from any cyber attacks. You can also find a way to watch Formula One for free in the description if you go and use ExpressVPN, our other partner there, and click on the links there and follow the instructions in the description. You can watch Formula One completely legally as well, alongside me as well. So be sure to go and check that out. As we do now have the visuals running here for Formula One. It's about to get going with the race, and we are all, of course, very excited for round 5 of the 2024 season. Going through the comments here, I'm seeing a few people here. We've got Yanni, we've got Teresa, we've got Iman, Simon, we've got Vernon saying greetings. It's chilly here too in Toronto, Canada. Morning from a chilly Germany, says Stefan. Hi from France, says Simon. So great to have a lot of people from all over the place. Iman here supporting Alonso, it seems, with Alonso badges here. We've got PCY Chance 61 saying sizzling afternoon here in the Philippines. Great to have you here as well. James here, Charles with the best tyre selection available. Ferrari, good tyre degradation, could be the only Red Bull challenger today. Indeed, and the problem is they're starting all the way down in 6th and 7th respectively. So the problem is that even though Ferrari seem to be the only team with decent tyre degradation compared to the other teams, especially Red Bull, it's going to be quite a tough ask for him to get further up. But they could challenge here today. Let's also see what Fernando Alonso could do. But I don't think race pace suits the Aston Martin too much. He was worried about it before this Grand Prix. But indeed, that's what we're going to have to see. Track distance for today's Shanghai race, 5.45 kilometers long. 56 laps will be had. Top speed is spent at 343 kilometers an hour. That's the average sort of top speed we'll find. Turns, there are 16 turns and only an elevation of 7.3 meters. Looking at the tyre compounds that have been available this weekend, we have had the C4, the C3, and the C2. The C4 being on the softer side, the C2 being on the harder side. Race pace, of course, soft tyres don't lose anything. The hard tyres tend to lose about a second a lap compared to the soft tyre components. So not too much of a drop-off, but certainly a little bit that makes a huge difference over a long period of time. Looking at the starting grid one more time, starting right at the back, Logan Sargent in a pit lane start as a result of taking on some work on the car. Tsunoda will be starting in 19th position in RB. Hamilton, terrible qualifying yesterday, as I said earlier, in 18th position, alongside Kevin Magnussen, who's in 17th. Zhou Guanyu, the home driver here in China, will be starting in 16th, and this Kick Sauber. Pierre Gasly in the Alpine, starting in 15th position. Alexander Albon in the Williams, also hoping that he could try and get a little bit more pace today in the race, in 14th. Ocon in 13th in the other Alpine. Ricciardo in his RB is in 12th position, alongside Lance Stroll, who's in the Aston Martin, to make up the bottom 10. Starting with our top 10, Valtteri Bottas in 10th position in the Kick Sauber. He'll be alongside Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas, who's in 9th. George Russell, the other Mercedes, in 8th position, who will be challenging the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, who's in 7th. 6th position, Charles Leclerc. He's going to have to put up with McLaren, who are both ahead of the Ferraris. Not an unusual thing that we've seen this season. Oscar Piastri, who's in 5th. Lando Norris is in 4th, and he's going to have to put up with Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin, who's up in 3rd after a brilliant qualifying session for him, and the front of the grid. The two Red Bull drivers, Perez in 2nd and Max Verstappen in 1st position. Good morning, everyone, says Lindiwe. Mark is here from Butuan City. Great to have you here. Yanni here. I heard that Mercedes will try to disguise the W11 and sneak it into the next race. Is that true? Wow, I don't think so. But yes, what a thought for them. Verstappen, although, is saying already now it maybe feels like a little bit of drizzling. So we might actually have weather affect us a little bit. Maybe the drizzle will start to affect the session. I don't think we'll see any intermediate tires, but it certainly might introduce a little bit of a factor of slipperiness around the track if we do have a little bit of drizzling. I think the dry tires will still be used for most of the race, if not all the race, even if it does have a light drizzle, because the track will remain somewhat dry in the racing line. But yeah, we'll have to see if the drizzle does actually affect us a little bit. G'day from Australia. Can't quite say your name, unfortunately. I do have no idea how to say that or to read that, but g'day to you from Australia. Great to have you here. Now, the tyre reveal, as everybody is on the grid. Charles Leclerc starting in 6th position. I think he's probably the good driver to look at in terms of who might be able to challenge, of course, Carlos Sainz as well. Those Ferraris are good enough long-term compared to the Red Bulls. We know Red Bull and Ferrari are fighting out right now for the Drivers' Championship. It's actually a lot closer than I thought it would be, and it's great to see that they are somewhat close there. So we're going to have to see if they can challenge, but they're starting from further back than those Red Bulls, so it's going to be a bit of a tough ask for them. Let's see if they can hold on to their tyres a bit longer than Red Bull. They had an interesting tyre strategy last time for Charles Leclerc, rather, so maybe they do the same thing this time around. So looking at the grid, there we go, the reveal of tyres. The top 10 all on mediums. Stroll is on the soft tyres, 12th through to 16th, again on mediums. Magnussen on the hard, and the bottom three, Hamilton, Tsunoda, and Sargent, all on the soft tyre. So those are our tyre compounds being used. Kevin Magnussen, the only one going for the hard tyre, so I'm interested to see what the Haas can do there. And the clock now does strike 3 o'clock local time, which means the formation lap is underway for the Chinese Grand Prix, round 5 of the 2024 season. Good morning from Josie, says Noel. Great to have you here. And Leonardo here. Yeah, just going after someone else. Great to see that. Indeed, as everybody already knows, and anybody who's logical and understands how the world works, it is completely illegal to show any sort of footage. So you will have me. Otherwise, for everything else, we've got all of our stats there on the left. And be sure to ask questions if you guys are interested to know what's happening and you can't see any information about that. Be sure to ask the question. I will let you know as best I can. So there are 56 laps today. Currently, the wind is 2.2 kilometers in the southeasterly direction. The track's temperature is 30.7 degrees Celsius. It will increase, of course, as the cars go around a little bit more. As I say, be sure to like the video before we get going with this race and subscribe to the channel if you are new. The more likes we get, the more people we get on it, the more conversation we have, the better the stream will only get. So be sure to invite your friends, get everybody else onto it, get everybody on their own accounts, get anything and everything, and just come and have a conversation. It's really, really great fun. The more people we have here, the more fun it can be. So be sure to go and let everybody else know. Like the video especially, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment down below where you're watching from, as well as what you think is going to happen. I want to know your predictions, of course, for this race weekend. You can participate in the poll in terms of predicting that. We've got Verstappen, Perez, Alonso, and other as your options there. Otherwise, you can just let me know in the comment section if it's somebody else that you want to vote for, or if you think something interesting will happen in the race today. Where do you think the McLarens will finish up? Where do you think the Ferraris? And what do you think of Alonso's performance from qualifying yesterday? Do you think he can do anything with the lack of race pace that Aston Martin have shown so far this season? Do you think he can do something from third position as the Red Bulls come down that very long straight at the back of the back straight? And it is a sold-out event. 20 years since the first Chinese Grand Prix. This is marking 20 years since we've had the first Chinese Grand Prix here in Shanghai, almost in Singapore, in Shanghai. And yeah, they're all now coming around the final couple of turns before we get going with the start of this race. So a couple of people in the comments here asking when will it start. It's getting going in just a little bit right now, so don't go anywhere. We've also got Jürgen here saying, can you watch F1 with a VPN? You can. Check out the description in the video for a completely legal way of watching it. So you can be sure to go and check out the description there and follow the instructions in our video description, and follow that link as well to our ExpressVPN partner so that you can go and see how you can all do that. Alonso will DNF, you say? Well, I hope not. I really, really hope not. Leonardo also saying, hello from Italy, by the way. Great to have you here from Italy. We've got people all over the world. Great. And McLaren will do well if it rains. So, yeah, maybe we'll have to see what happens. What happened to Logan Sargent? Well, he had a terrible qualifying, and then he's taken a couple of upgrades on the car. So he'll be starting from the pit lane in 20th position. Morning from South Africa. Is the race about to start? Indeed, as I said, it's about to get going. Carlos will get second. Our formation lap, yeah, is going. And we've now not got the final couple of cars lining up here. So I'm not going to read the comments for a little bit. It's about to get frenetic. It's about to get very exciting, as now we're about to have the green flag waved at the back of the track. The back of the grid is ready. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights, all lights gone. And now we have the start of the Shanghai Grand Prix. Max Verstappen immediately comes across to defend, but Alonso's got a brilliant start. He's already alongside Sergio Perez. He's going to have to see if he can go around the outside. He does go around the outside of Sergio Perez, and he's now trying to challenge Max Verstappen in the beginning of this race. The McLaren's also having a good start right in the back of Sergio Perez, but Alonso's already in second position right alongside Max Verstappen. Sergio Perez trying to fight back, but Sergio Perez has gone wide now, which opens up a gap for the McLaren of Norris, but Norris can't quite do something about it. But Fernando Alonso already in second in that Aston Martin, but Sergio Perez trying to fight back a little bit. But now here comes the McLaren to defend around the outside. Norris trying to challenge with Sergio Perez. The Ferraris getting a little bit held up by, I think it's a Mercedes, George Russell, who's managed to get past the Ferraris. Brilliant start for George Russell. I think Lando Norris in fourth, though, trying to chase down Sergio Perez. We're going to have to see what happens here. I think George Russell's managed to get one past the Ferraris. The Ferraris have not had a good start here at all, as I see the Haas's of Hulkenberg's also got past the Ferraris. It's unbelievable start here in Shanghai. Verstappen, though, is already starting to build a gap to Alonso behind him. Alonso, though, brilliant into second. George Russell has got past both Ferraris. The Ferraris not having a good start at all. Now sitting in 8th position and 9th position, respectively. Lance Stroll up into 10th. Valtteri Bottas dropped down into 11th. Zhou Guanyu dropped a little bit. Is back up to 17th position as well. Hulkenberg in 7th. Russell in 6th. Piastri 5th. Norris in 4th. Perez in 3rd. Alonso now in 2nd. Verstappen still up there in 1st position. Fantastic racing from Fernando Alonso, but even better from George Russell. What happened to the two Ferraris? I want to see a replay here. It might have been held up by somebody else because it's not normal. There you go. An overtake, though, attempt by both Ferraris on the Haas. They're trying to get past him, and indeed they do. Leclerc gets past first. Sainz now trying to go around the outside. I don't think he's going to be able to take the Haas immediately into that turn, so he's going to have to wait his little turn there. But Leclerc makes his way back into 7th position, now trying to chase down that Mercedes ahead of him. The gap from Alonso to Verstappen is already huge, and there you go. Sainz getting past Hulkenberg around the outside into turn 1, and the Ferraris back into 7th and 8th. Let's try and see if they can get closer to George Russell as it gets along. But a great start from George Russell to get ahead of both those Ferraris. Wow, what a start there for the Shanghai Grand Prix. Alonso's gap to Verstappen is already pretty much 2 seconds. So quite scary that already how quickly that Red Bull has got ahead of the Aston Martin. Now, George Russell's having a little bit of a look on the McLaren of Piastri ahead of him. He's had a brilliant start as George Russell in the Mercedes. And yeah, very keen to see what they can do. The Mercedes engines clearly doing half decently here because the McLaren's not doing too badly chasing down the Red Bulls and the Aston Martins. And the Mercedes just generally doing a lot better than the Ferrari engines and the RB engine, the Red Bull engines even, the Honda engines that is, of course. So yeah, the Mercedes engines seem to have a great start here in Shanghai. Let's see if they can continue though throughout the rest of the race. Verstappen's still building that gap though right at the front there. But the McLarens and the Mercedes really challenging at the front. Hamilton on the radio saying, I'm making no ground with this tyre, saying that the soft tyre is not doing anything. This is what I thought happened yesterday with George Russell, so I was really surprised that they sent him out on the soft tyre. Hamilton all the way down still in 19th position. He's not even managed to get past anybody ahead of him. He's actually dropped a position. Zhou Guanyu, though, also in this home race, has dropped down to 18th. Yuki Tsunoda has made up a few positions from 19th up into 16th. So Hamilton on the soft tyres not enjoying life right now. Daniel Ricciardo had a terrible start as well. He's all the way down into 15th. He's now going to be having to compete with his teammate Yuki Tsunoda. Pierre Gasly and Ocon and the Alpines had a half-decent start up into 12th and 14th. Albon still in 13th. Valtteri Bottas has just dropped one position into 11th position. So we have a bit more of a clear and obvious grid. Albon saying this guy is moving like something everywhere on the brakes. That is, of course, talking about Esteban Ocon ahead of him in the Alpine. So Albon not enjoying having to compete with Esteban Ocon. And we just see a couple of moves down in the bottom of the track there. Magnussen and Zhou just having it out of each other a little bit. And yeah, Alonso is going to have to start defending from Sergio Perez behind him a little bit, though he's not losing too much time now to Verstappen. He's sort of sitting at around 2 point. Oh, never mind. He's just dropped a bit more. It's almost a 3-second gap already in lap 3. So Alonso did a great job defending yesterday in the sprint race. Will he be able to do some of that, bring some of that along to this race now in the longer race and the longer formats? I'm not sure he's going to be able to hold out for that long as Lewis Hamilton eventually starts to make some overtakes and gets himself back into 18th. Zhou Guanyu in his home race is now just dropping all the way down to 19th. Really not having a great start here. The two RBs in 15th and 16th, we're seeing them there starting to compete a little bit. The back is very, very competitive. Lewis Hamilton's going to have to try and fight his way through this. Eventually managed to get his way back into 18th position. He'll have to be trying to fight Magnussen, then Tsunoda and Ricciardo soon. Sergio Perez right on the back of Fernando Alonso. Now remember, DRS is now activated because DRS gets enabled much earlier this season than it did last season. So Sergio Perez does now have DRS on Alonso ahead of him, but Alonso still staying ahead of him as well. The two McLarens chasing them down. George Russell as well, not too far away from Oscar Piastri ahead of him. The two Ferraris, though, they've dropped off compared to George Russell. They're going to have to make up some time, but we do know the Ferraris can last longer on these medium tires. So that's going to be their strategy. They're going to have to go longer on the tires than the cars around them to try and make this a one-stop race, perhaps rather than a two-stop, or maybe even a three-stop race. It's going to be quite a long race to try and take on just two tires. So three-stop, maybe even four-stop. Going to the comments here, great to see everybody commenting along here. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new as well. I'm going to go through some of the comments while some action is happening out on track. Lewis Hamilton seems to be trying to take Kevin Magnussen down there in 17th and 18th position. Everybody asking about Lewis Hamilton. As I said, he had a terrible qualifying yesterday. Started on the soft tires, not seemingly finding as much pace as they hoped that he would. And he's now trying to fight with all those around him from the very bottom there to try and get into the top 10 as quickly as possible. Start on the soft tire. He's really struggling to keep up with Kevin Magnussen, who's on the hard tire. So clearly, I don't think the right tire strategy for Mercedes. I think they should have started on at least the medium tire. Yeah, indeed. And hello from Oz, says Old Man Roo here as per usual. Let's go, says Marie Eiler. And yikes, Hamilton indeed. Bob, why was I late? Yes, you were late, Bob. What happened there? You were late. And yeah, Fernando Alonso's gap to Sergio Perez is under a second, which means Sergio Perez does have DRS to Fernando Alonso. There you go. It opens now. Fernando Alonso is going to have to defend from Sergio Perez behind him. How quickly does Sergio Perez keep up to him? Fernando Alonso does brilliantly to use his ERS and his energy reserves to just stay ahead of that Red Bull car for now. So I imagine Alonso will try to hold up Sergio Perez and the others for as long as possible so that he can give himself the best chance of getting the most points this race weekend. But it's going to be a difficult ask for him. It's going to really, really take a while for him to get going. So it's lap 5, which means I'm going to slow down a little bit because now the action does start to slow down a little bit. It's a little bit more tactical. So yes, I was going a bit like a Boeing there, of course, in the beginning, like a bit like an auction. But I'm going to slow down now. I can see chess memes just say, bro is rapping indeed. I think I might have been a little bit. But yeah. Lars on the radio says, looks like Alonso is pushing the tires a lot more than us. Keep it up. So basically, Alonso seems to be using his tires more. Sergio Perez does make the overtake on Fernando Alonso. That came a little bit out of nowhere. I didn't see that coming. But will Fernando Alonso fight back? No, he does not. So Fernando Alonso's dropped back into third position. Sergio Perez is back into second. And Alonso, unfortunately, has lost that second place position. I did say, I wonder how long it's going to take for Alonso to start losing positions. Unfortunately, the Aston Martin just does not have the race pace of the cars around it. Qualifying, not bad. Race pace, not quite there as it was last season. So let's see what Fernando Alonso can do for the rest of it. But now we're eventually getting a race replay or a race start replay. I want to see what happened to the two Ferraris. Did they just get away very slowly or did they just get held up quite badly? Not a bad start by Charles Leclerc. He just gets quite close to Oscar Piastri, but maybe just unfortunately takes a bad line. Oh, the two Ferraris actually caused them each other problems. That's what it was. Charles Leclerc and Sainz. Sainz was trying to overtake Charles Leclerc on the outside. Charles Leclerc defends away from Sainz. As a result, cars on the inside get past both Ferraris. So that's why the Ferraris didn't have a great start. They were too busy fighting with each other a little bit, way too far on the outside. But Fernando Alonso, great start from him. Arguably the best start in the grid. And Lance Stroll also had a great start there. Almost touching. Actually, I think he does almost pretty much make contact with Nico Hülkenberg, but eventually does manage to stay on the inside. Nico Hülkenberg said the Aston ran me off the track. Can't say he's wrong, but I think it's just normal racing instinct. You wouldn't see anything come from that. Cora's here in the comments saying, morning, everyone. Bob, of course, saying morning, Cora, as well. Albon and Gasly incident forcing another driver off the track has also been noted by race control. Old Man Vu saying, love to see an epic drive from Hamilton to top 10. Well, he's into 17th now. He's got past Magnussen on the soft tires, now having to chase down Yuki Tsunoda. He's quite close to him, so let's see if he can get past them all. Clearly, the soft tire just taking a little bit of time to start to make its effect, but they can't wait too long, otherwise it just degrades that quickly. Lap 6 of 56, the two Red Bulls at the front. Fernando Alonso's dropped back into third. The two McLarens chased down that Aston Martin in fourth and fifth. George Russell's got past both Ferraris in sixth position. The Ferraris only seventh and eighth, but they have caught up to the Mercedes now. They were a little bit far behind it, but now they have caught up to DRS range. So from George Russell down to both Ferraris, they are all, well, from Piastri to Russell to Leclerc to Sainz rather, all forming a little bit of a DRS train there. And Piastri's fallen off his teammate Lando Norris by quite a bit there, 2.5 seconds. So, yeah, needs to start speeding up there a little bit, does Oscar Piastri, because otherwise he's going to start to see overtakes happen. Norris now getting quite close to the back of Fernando Alonso. He's trying to see if he can make an overtake at any point now going forward. Old Man Roo saying, was great commentary for the opening laps, Mark. Well, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Ronald saying, who do you guys want to win? As I say, I have asked this question and go and answer his question as well, or their question rather, sorry, as to who you guys think is going to win the race. You know what? Ignore Max Verstappen. We know Max Verstappen's likely to win. He's already got an interval of 5.8 seconds. But ignore Max Verstappen. Assume that he's not there. Who's winning this race? Essentially, that's what you can think of. Bob saying Alonso. Well, I don't think so. Alonso's currently battling down there in third with Lando Norris. He's dropped after making his way up into second. He's dropped back down to third. He's now about to drop into fourth as Lando Norris right on the back of Fernando Alonso. This Aston Martin just does not have the pace it had last season, which is so upsetting. Lando Norris, that last lap, made up 0.35 seconds on Fernando Alonso. As Cora says, Max Verstappen is just cruising ahead. Wesley here saying Alonso, always Alonso. And Ronald here saying Perez is defending Alonso for Max. Well, he's not really, because Alonso's dropped quite far off of Perez. Perez is actually trying to run his own race here. I'm surprised Perez and Verstappen didn't fight a little bit more in the beginning there, but I suppose Perez had to defend and try and defend, which he failed at, from Alonso. But if that hadn't happened, we might have seen something else interesting happen between those two Red Bulls. But here we go. Lando Norris now going to try and make an attempt on Fernando Alonso. He's right on the back of him with DRS. He drives down the inside of Fernando Alonso. Can't do much about it. And Lando Norris has made up the position, although Fernando Alonso had to slam onto the brakes a little bit because he was going to turn in, and Lando Norris hadn't made the overtake completely, but he does eventually make it stick. Lando Norris in the McLaren up into third. Alonso wanted to try the switchback there, but unfortunately Lando Norris actually was going a little bit too slowly when he tried to do the switchback, so he had to actually go onto the brakes because the car was in the way. So as a result, he actually couldn't perform the maneuver he wanted to. George Russell really coming under fire from Charles Leclerc behind him. Watching a replay of the Alpine and Alexander Albon. It's Pierre Gasly and Albon. Gasly saying he pushed me wide, he just runs me off the track. Alexander Albon, I think, might well have done so, but it was a little bit of erratic driving from Gasly before that. So to be quite frank, I think Alex Albon sort of gets his way back. Gasly didn't race fairly in the straight. Albon didn't race fairly in the corner. So Albon does get past Gasly as a result into 13th, and or rather maybe just defending away from him. And he's in 13th, still trying to catch up to Esteban Ocon rather ahead of him. The battle for sixth is really heating up here between Russell and Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc wants to try and make short work of this as much as possible, because the more he can get past some drivers on these tyres, the better Ferrari will stand at a strategy, because, of course, their tyres last a lot longer than most around them this season, maybe even more than the Red Bulls. So perhaps that's their strategy. Try and take these tyres as long into the race as possible and have fewer stops than those around to try and compete with those further ahead. But Sainz and Leclerc can't wait behind George Russell for too long, so they really do need to make a move now. As Charles Leclerc comes into that back straight, this is going to be the big moment. Can he get as close as possible to that Mercedes? Let's see. DRS is now open. We're on board with him. It's great visuals to see how close does he get. I don't think he's going to be able to get close enough into the turn. He's not. George Russell goes to the inside to defend. Charles Leclerc goes on the outside. He's alongside him. Will he be able to take it on the switcheroo? No, he's not going to be able to do it, but he might be able to do it into turn one. Let's see if he's going to be brave with an overtake into turn one. George Russell is not going to make it easy for him at all in Mercedes. They are in the fight with the Ferraris. Now, DRS is open for Charles Leclerc again. Where will Charles Leclerc go this time? Will he dive down the inside? If he can, it's going to be better. He's going to have to go around the outside. Will he take it down the outside? He does. Great overtake from Charles Leclerc. But does George Russell come back at him? No. George Russell's just getting squeezed a little bit, and Charles Leclerc does brilliantly to get past him. Great overtake from him. Charles Leclerc moves back into sixth. George Russell now behind the Ferrari. Great overtake from Charles Leclerc. Now, Sainz's turn. FIA stewards have noted an incident between Albon and Gasly for forcing a driver off the track. It's under investigation, and the first pit stops are now happening. Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, and Zhou all in the pits. Let's see how quick those pit stops are. Hulkenberg 2.9, Tsunoda 2.2. Great pit stop there. And once again, it seems a slow pit stop for Zhou Guanyu and Kick Sauber. 3 seconds. Not the greatest for them, but eventually he does exit out there. Zhou Guanyu in his home race, right at the back of the track. Very unfortunate for him. He's onto the hard tire. Let's see if he can make up some positions in that Kick Sauber. His teammate Valtteri Bottas still in 10th position. Lance Stroll, though, doing brilliantly to get up into 9th now. So he's now chasing down the top of the packs. And let's see what that Aston Martin driver can do now as well. Lap 9 of 56. Sainz and the Ferrari say we are gone plan B. They have now moved to plan B, and as we know with Ferrari very famously about all these A, B, C, D, E, F, G plans, we have no idea what that means, but it's always nice to note that they are now on plan B. So Sainz now going to be chasing down George Russell. He is very, very close to him. So will he be able to do the same thing as Charles Leclerc? He watched Charles Leclerc overtake George Russell earlier, literally the lap before. Will he try the same thing? He's quite close to the back of him. He'll have DRS into that turn. Let's see if he manages to do it. He's not as close as Charles Leclerc was, though. But let's see if he tries to do it. George Russell, where's he going to dive? George Russell, he's going to stay on the outside. He's learned clearly from that earlier overtake from Charles Leclerc. Their Sainz is going to try and take a different angle to try and maybe take a switcheroo on him ahead. And no further investigation will be had on Stroll and Hulkenberg for forcing another driver off the track in the beginning. I did say that would just be a racing incident. So nothing's happening there. We've got a lot of pit stops now. Stroll, Bottas, Ocon, Albon, and Hamilton all in the pits. Hamilton moves onto the medium tire. And there, my word, we're getting very close between Carlos Sainz and George Russell. Leclerc's already left Russell in the dust. So I think we might even see Russell come into the pits early here on the medium tire because he's trying to struggle with these two Ferraris around him. But Carlos Sainz keeping up to George Russell and might make short work of him, just showing that those Ferraris, the tire degradation is a lot less than the cars around them, and they're able to take these tires a little bit further than those around them as well. And hence, George Russell really coming into the threat by the Ferrari behind him after already being taken by Charles Leclerc, who's already within a second of Piastri ahead of him. So the Ferrari started to motor, trying to move forward as quickly as possible. Go to the comments here. Just seeing a couple of things here. Lindy West said, damn, Zhou, what a race. 320. Oh dear. Not going well for Zhou Guan Yu. Indeed, not at all. Bob here saying, plan A, overtake. Plan B, try plan A. Yes, indeed. I quite enjoy it. Cool guy. Yes, Leclerc. Indeed, he has made up a couple of positions. Sainz getting so close to the back of George Russell on the back straight there. Will he be able to make an overtake on the next DRS zone into turn 1? I think that's actually probably an easier place for the Ferraris to make the overtake because the back straight, even though you've got so much time to try and make that overtake, it's quite easy to defend against, whereas turn 1, not so easy. That the lines there are quite interesting. So Sainz with DRS, where's he going to dive? He's going to have to try and wait for the outside. He's waiting for George Russell to give up. And let's see if George Russell's going to make that indication. Hamilton on the radio saying that was the worst tire man, indicating for his soft tire. Hamilton's come out in 19th position on the medium tire. So a terrible, terrible start to this race for Hamilton. He was hoping to be much further up. I still think it's weird that he didn't come out on the hard tire. Surely they would have started on the hard tire. And also Mercedes saw this yesterday with George Russell. George Russell tried to start the sprint race on the soft tire, and it was not good enough. It wasn't doing anything. It didn't make himself any positions up. So why did they try the same thing again today with Lewis Hamilton? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. They should have started on either the hard or the medium tire. Personally, I would have thought the hard tire to get as far forward as possible before getting into the pits so they can come out a little bit further ahead in the grid. But yeah, not a great start from Hamilton and Mercedes here. He's going to have to do a lot more work in the rest of this race here. But Carlos Sainz trying desperately to get closer to George Russell ahead of him. But we're also forgetting about an even more interesting battle here. Is actually 5th position, Leclerc and Piastri. Leclerc's right on the back of Oscar Piastri. They've just realized this now, the camera crews. And Leclerc is going to surely going to make an overtake attempt on Piastri right now, as is Carlos Sainz on George Russell. There we go. Charles Leclerc is going to have to try and overtake on the inside. Piastri made a little bit of a defensive maneuver, but had to abandon it. And Charles Leclerc gets past the McLaren and moves himself into 5th position, just behind now Fernando Alonso in that Aston Martin. Oscar Piastri moves down into 6th. Leclerc up into 5th. He's moving further up. Cool guy saying the best commentator ever. Thank you so much. And Ronald saying he should be an F1 commentator. Well, again, thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate the comments there. Blue here saying it's crazy, just crazy. It is indeed a little bit. Alonso and Russell both into the pits. I did think Russell was going to come into the pits to try and defend against Sainz. Indeed, he does. And now Carlos Sainz is gone past those two drivers. Ricciardo moves into 7th position as a result of all these pit stops. Same as Magnussen into 8th. Sargent into 9th. It's probably going to be the highest he'll be in this race. Until he makes his pit stop. Alonso in 10th position, that's where he comes out. George Russell comes out in 11th, just ahead of Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll has pitted already, so Lance Stroll's coming out behind George Russell on not that much older tires, and he's already competing a little bit with him. So George Russell and that Mercedes not really enjoying having come out of the pits at that point there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the battle here between the Aston Martins and the Mercedes. I think that's where the battle is today, to see where they can feature. They had a half-decent start to the race, the Mercedes engines, but doing the rest of it, not so great. Yuki Tsunoda's pit stop, watching as he comes out. Oh, my word. Almost an unsafe release there, but luckily he saw the car there. He almost took out the kick saber of Valtteri Bottas. As he comes out, Valtteri Bottas just cuts in right ahead of him. And yeah, I was very, very close. Also looking at Lance Stroll's pit stop here, I think the same thing happens. And as he comes out, not nearly as bad. It's just the Alpine and then the Williams as well just ahead of him. So he was not nearly as bad, but Yuki Tsunoda almost getting taken out by Valtteri Bottas as he comes into the pits. Not Valtteri Bottas' fault. Yuki Tsunoda's pit crew who released him a little bit too early there. That was a little bit almost an incident, but luckily it was not. As I've said, Verstappen is currently 9.3 seconds ahead of Sergio Perez behind him, so quite a big gap already. Medium tyres all across the top 7 of the Ferraris, and 4th and 6th now. Piastri in the middle of those 2 Ferraris. Sainz will be looking to overtake Piastri in not too long from now. Ricciardo in 7th position. Now, Hamilton trying to make some overtakes, trying to make up some ground all the way from the back there. He's on the medium tyre, which seems to be a much better tyre for the Mercedes. He's trying to challenge right now with Yuki Tsunoda in the RB car. And he's going to try and make an overtake, I imagine, into turn 1 now with DRS. Hamilton on the medium tyre, quite fresh medium tyres as well. Let's see how he fares compared to Yuki Tsunoda, who's also on fresh medium tyres. Hamilton in the Mercedes gaining on that RB car quite quickly. He's going to go around the outside, is Lewis Hamilton, and he makes that move stick, does he? Yes, he does, quite easily. Moves into 15th position, does Hamilton now, as a result of Logan Sargent rather coming into the pits. He's going to come out in 19th position ahead of Pierre Gasly, who's really far back as well compared to the rest of the grid. I want to see what happened there because he wasn't that far back when I last saw. Old Man Vu is asking, is Danny Rick climbing or benefiting from pit stops? Well, he's benefiting from pit stops mainly, but he's not going too slowly, so he might be able to come out quite far ahead of a lot of other drivers. Leclerc is saying, happy to go longer if we need to, but this pace is this. So in other words, just saying what he's giving right now is the most the tyre is going to give. He's happy to keep going on the tyres, but there's not going to get more pace than what he's getting right now. We're now watching Alonso catching up to Magnussen. We've got Verstappen, our race leader, into the pits. It's a little bit early because he's going to come out behind everybody, so that's going to be an interesting one. Sergio Perez, they're also going for the double. They're going for the double pit stop here. Red Bull. Let's see how quick they are on Sergio Perez. I think it's a brilliant pit stop strategy from them, both of them, in and out very, very quickly. Great pit stops for Red Bull there. 2.1 for Verstappen, 2.0 for Perez. That is absolutely ridiculous from Red Bull. And he comes out, does Max Verstappen in 4th position. Perez comes out just behind Sainz in 6th position. Great pit stops from the Red Bulls there. They both come out on the hard tyre. Let's see how quickly other teams react around to come into the pits as well. I imagine Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, and Sainz will all be coming into the pits very shortly. Same as Ricciardo. Those will be the last ones into the pits as everybody else has pitted, I think. So yeah, Verstappen and Perez, great pit stops for them. Just shows Red Bull are a class outfit throughout. Now we're on board with George Russell. He's following on with Fernando Alonso. Alonso in 8th position, trying to chase down Ricciardo ahead of him now. George Russell in 9th, trying to chase down Fernando Alonso. Let's see if he can do anything. Will Fernando Alonso be able to defend away from this? Again, I think the battle today is between the Mercedes and the Aston Martin. I don't think Mercedes are going to be able to punt themselves anywhere further up than that. Watching the overtake replay from Fernando Alonso on the Williams there. It's quite funny. He's literally alongside the Williams, just waiting for DRS to go. He's like sort of keeping up pace. DRS is then he gets going. Oh my word. We had a terrible, that's what I said, what happened to Pierre Gasly? It was a terrible pit stop. They went in, they're trying to fix things, and the tire went on, and then the tire immediately came off and actually forced the pit crew member off. He took a bit of damage there. It's a terrible pit stop in the Alpine garage there for Pierre Gasly, and that's what caused his really, really slow pit stop. I wonder what happened. His back right tire, as they put it on and released him, actually came off, hit one of the pit crew members, and they had to lift the car up again and try and put it on. It was a terrible pit stop there for him, and that's what's ruined his race. I wondered, because I said he's all the way down in 20th. Gasly asking, is he okay? Well, good to know from Gasly that he's caring about his pit crew there. He did hit him quite badly. It's not his fault. The tire just randomly came off and just hit the guy quite hard, and the car pretty much almost landed on him. But luckily, it seems like the engineer is all right. And yeah, shame, unfortunate for him. Alonso now moves into 7th. Ricciardo's into the pits. So let's see where he comes out, Old Man Vu, in terms of seeing if he's benefited too much or not. So if he comes out ahead of, I think, Bottas, then it's been a great pit stop strategy, but he doesn't. Comes out in 13th, 14th. Now, where does Hamilton come out in comparison? 15th. So no, he's not. It's actually not been good for Ricciardo at all. He comes out behind his teammate Yuki Tsunoda and Alex Albon and Zhou all the way down into 18th position for Ricciardo. So he's not benefited much there at all. It's quite close to the rest of the grid, just by the way. It's really, really close from 8th down to 19th. It's a very, very close racing. So I almost thought that Aston Martin was going slow there, but he wasn't. He has got past Magnussen here, has Stroll into 9th position, chasing down Russell. Although I think it's Magnussen trying to chase down Stroll rather. So a bit of an interesting one here. We've got a lot of overtakes happening so far in 15 laps of racing. It's great to see. Going to the comments here, the Papayas, indeed, the Papayas currently leading the race. It's Lando Norris in 1st and Piastri in 4th position as a result of those pit stops. Watching a replay of Lance Stroll, it was Lance Stroll making the overtake on the horse of Kevin Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen. It was indeed. Going back to the comments here, saying, let's see what's happening here. Imagine Lando wins. Well, I don't think that's really a possibility right now. Old Man Moose saying, 2 Aussies in the top 10. I should stop watching right now. Well, I hope you did stop watching a little bit if you want to see that, because it's already gone. I hope Lando wins. I'm in the UAE, says Bob. Great to see. Indonesia, Manila, we're seeing times, I suppose, that people are watching. Well, I see a lot of dedication, some very, very early times here. Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen currently racing it out between the two of them. Leclerc yet to make his way into the pits. Max Verstappen has already, and they're already fighting. Max Verstappen's going on the inside of Charles Leclerc, and he does make that move stick. Charles Leclerc unable to do anything about it. He's on much older tires compared to Max Verstappen's brand new hard tires. So unfortunately, Charles Leclerc has to let the Red Bull go by. So I wonder when Charles Leclerc and Sainz will go into the pits. I think they're going for a much shorter pit strategy than the rest of the grid. I think it's a 3-stop strategy here along, maybe even a 2-stop. But I think 3 stops are what most teams are probably going to go for here. Ferraris, I think, are only going to go for a 2-stop strategy. So maybe that's why they're still out there and not making their way to the pits anytime soon. The McLarens as well might be going for the same sort of strategies, maybe try to opt for something different, have to risk it to try and get something because they just can't fight with the Red Bulls otherwise. Drew Harrison saying, K-Mag doing well. Indeed, he's up into 10th position. He's ahead of his teammate now, Hulkenberg, after starting much further back compared to him. So he's not doing too badly here. Lots of people still discussing where they're all watching from and the times they're watching from. India, I see over there in the comments. Australia, UAE, Manila, as I say. Philippines time. Hamilton on the radio saying, I can't even catch him, mate. This car is so slow. Really not enjoying his life there in 14th position behind Esteban Ocon in the Alpine in 13th. He's moved up a few positions, so he's not necessarily correct, but I don't think Hamilton's enjoying his race at all so far. So let's look at the grid right now. No pit stops for Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, and Sainz, and Kevin Magnussen. That's why Kevin Magnussen is further up. Although Piastri now heads into the pits. There we go. We've got a little bit of movement for the McLarens. Let's see how quick a pit stop it is for Piastri. Let's see where he comes out as well, because I think that's going to be an interesting one. Will he come out ahead of Alonso and Russell, or will he come out behind them? Oh, slightly slower in the front right rather, but not too bad. 2.8 seconds. He will go behind Alonso, George Russell now. Will he go behind Stroll and Magnussen as well? Stroll goes past him, but he will come out ahead of Magnussen. Piastri comes out in 9th position. Magnussen still needs to pit, though. Magnussen, when he goes to the pits, it's going to be an interesting one. Oh, my word. Very, very close between Sergio Perez and Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz and Leclerc going long on these medium tires. They've still yet to pit, as has Lando Norris. But Perez on the hard tire now fighting with Carlos Sainz already. Leclerc on the radio. Leclerc's just being asked, what do you think about plan D with this Delta? And he says, if you're happy with this pace, then yes. In other words, I'm telling you right now, I actually recommend. Sorry about that. Just had a little bit of a break in my microphone there. Apologies. Sainz now being told to box. Perez does make his way past Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz is going to head into the pits here, and he's going to go past Sergio Perez on that little back corner there. But Sergio Perez now does make his way past Carlos Sainz. Let's see how quick a pit stop this is. But I want to see what the attempted strategies are here from Ferrari. It seems like they're going to go for longer stints on these tires. So Sainz now finally into the pits. He moves on to the hard tire, slightly slow, but it's fine. I apologize. It seems like my microphone's starting to die a little bit, so I'm going to change microphones quickly, and then we'll be back, and then I'll wait for that to fix itself up. But I do apologize. It's just seeming like my microphone is starting to just take a little bit of a battery dead. I don't know why it's plugged in, but we'll wait for 2 seconds. Just give me 2 seconds, guys, and I'll be back right now. with hopefully a better thing. It might not be the best microphone, but it will work until this one's a little bit more powered up. No problem. Okay, so you should have microphone working right now. It's not as good. I love the microphone. I'm just trying to figure out the microphone out the bass one. The other one. So just give me 2 seconds, guys, whilst I sort this out. I don't know why we've decided to have a bit of a lack of charge from this one, but I'm just going to wait 2 seconds whilst I try to sort this out. If you wouldn't just mind bearing with me, and I'll take it home very, very quickly to try and get this working for you all. Meanwhile, I'm going to have the other one charged just so it can come back and be used. So just give me 2 seconds whilst I sort this out, guys, and then we'll be all good. Apologies. Verstappen is getting a lot of support in the comments. Great to see that. Lando ate grilled cheese with a side of methanol. Apparently, he's in 2nd position now. Max Verstappen moves back into 1st on his hard tires. And lap 20, looking at the grid here, Sainz coming out in 9th position, just behind Lance Stroll and the likes. But they're going to be on these hard tires for a good while. So one imagines that we're going to see a long time for these drivers in terms of when we'll see these strategies start to pan out, because I think we are going to see quite interesting things happening throughout the grid as the race goes on, because some people are going for shorter strategies, some people are going for longer strategies. So it's going to be a very, very interesting thing as we watch here, especially for Ferrari. I think Ferrari are going to be the ones to watch here. Oh dear, we've got a kick Sauber off. It's a yellow flag in sector 3. We've got a kick Sauber off. It's Valtteri Bottas. He's dropped down. He's out. And I think it's going to cause a safety car as well here. The car is not happy. It's smoking up at the back there. And we've got a first bit of major action here. This is going to prove beneficial for Charles Leclerc. If this causes a safety car, this might well cause a safety car or virtual safety car. At least engine is gone, says Bottas, for the kick Sauber. That is a big problem for kick Sauber. There you go. We're going to have an issue here. Kick Sauber's Bottas is out of this race. The engine's gone. He stopped in sector 3. This might cause a yellow flag, a safety car perhaps, or a virtual safety car. I'm hoping a safety car. It's in sectors 2 and 3 now because people are going a little bit slow. What's happening in sector 2 perhaps? No, sector 3 still for him. And we're seeing right now, Charles, I think this is Sainz and Stroll. They're fighting it out meanwhile, but they're going to make a decision on what's going to happen here. Valtteri Bottas stopped on track. He's not been able to get off.
So what's going to happen here? This is going to be very interesting to see if this causes a safety car. Who's just going to benefit the most? Norris and Leclerc up in second and third if they do cause a safety car here. And Sainz does make his way past Lance Stroll before that section, but then Sainz makes a mess up and Lance Stroll gets right back past him. So Sainz makes a mistake, and unfortunately, as a result, he is unable to actually hold on to that position. It's still a yellow flag in sector 2 and 3. They can't make up their minds as to what they want to do. So let's see what happens here. They need to make up their minds because he's in a bit of a dangerous position. He's in the runoff section. There is Valtteri Bottas. So let's see what happens. Just a yellow flag right now. He's literally out the car. So they really need to make a decision as to what happens here. Are we going to have a safety car? Are we going to have a virtual safety car? We haven't been told. We have not been told. Yellow flag still in sector 2 and sector 3. Virtual safety car now being called. Virtual safety car has been called. That is a big problem for Kick Sauber in terms of their cars just seem not to be very reliable, and they just had so many problems. But a virtual safety car, will Norris and Leclerc make their way into the pits as a result? I'm sure they will. And this really will benefit them. There you go, Charles Leclerc into the pits now as a result of that virtual safety car. Great for Ferrari and for Charles Leclerc. Gives them all the benefits in the world, and they'll come onto fresh, hard tires without losing too much time either. He'll still come out in fourth position with Leclerc. Brilliant for him, I think. That is absolutely brilliant for Charles Leclerc and for Ferrari. He'll come out ahead, I think, of Fernando Alonso. Unless Fernando Alonso just gets past him, Charles Leclerc making a bit of an effort to try and get him. Nobody's not going to be able to, unfortunately. But it's fine. He comes out in fifth position. Does Charles Leclerc. So really not too bad for him. He hasn't lost that much time at all. Stroll's also made his way to the pits as a result. They're going to try something different there. He was in the pits not too long ago. And Hamilton have been told by Mercedes to box as well. So quite a few teams making box maneuvers here so that they can see what they can do here, essentially. It's quite interesting that this virtual safety car is going to really benefit Leclerc and Norris, I think, perhaps as well. Norris is coming into the pits. Surely one imagines who's going to come into the pits now. Hamilton's pit stop was 2.6 seconds long. Yeah, I mean, brilliant to see that we've got a bit more of interesting action happening out here. Going to make it a little bit more of an interesting Grand Prix. Lando Norris going to come into the pits now. Where does he come out? Because he's right in the middle of the two Red Bulls right now. So he might be able to come out ahead of Charles Leclerc still as he comes into the pits here. Will he come into the pits, though? It doesn't seem like he's going to come into the pits unless I'm mistaken. Yeah, I want to see what happens here. This is interesting. He doesn't seem to have come into the pits here, Lando Norris. He's still going to stay out there on the medium tire. It's a bit of an odd one by McLaren. I'm surprised they don't box him, but anyway, as they were. It's a very, very odd one, but we'll see what happens there. If you wouldn't mind just bearing 2 seconds for me. I'm trying to get a bit better microphone up and available. Norris is in the pits, sorry. What am I talking about? Norris has come into the pits. So let's see where he comes out. I'm very intrigued to see where he'll come out. Perez will make his way past him. But where will Fernando Alonso and Leclerc be compared to Lando Norris? Great pit stop in McLaren for him as well. They're very chuffed with that. Lots of clapping around there. It was a brilliant pit stop. 2.1 seconds. Great pit stop for him. He will come out way ahead of Alonso and Leclerc. And that's a brilliant bit of luck for Lando Norris. He comes out third on fresh, hard tires, a long way ahead of Fernando Alonso and Charles Leclerc. So that's really benefited him apart from anybody else. Lando Norris benefits the most from that virtual safety car. And so we're going to have an interesting racing here. Going back to the comments here before I could just fix everything else up here. Saying, no, Bottas, shame, says Lindiwe. Indeed, it's very unfortunate for him. Unfortunately, he's going to be out of this race after having such a great qualifying session yesterday. Just Android Bossman here saying, Mum, can you go get me new batteries? Yes, indeed. It's not quite that, unfortunately, got to charge it up. I don't know why it wasn't charging up the whole of last night. They should have been charging, but I do apologize. Anyway, it's fine. I'm going to get it fixed right now. I've got a different set of headset right now. I'm just installing its drivers and then we'll get going. So don't worry about that. Sucks for Bottas, says Bob. Indeed it does. Carlos Sainz says, I can't even bother to try and read your name. Apologies for that. Falkenberg, I think it says, if Lewis had a rocket ship and Bottas was his teammate, he would be winning championships and we'd all think he was an amazing driver. Basically just having a bit of a dig at Lewis Hamilton's support versus Verstappen's support. It's a little bit true, but let's not try and do those sort of things here. Let's just watch the rating. Oh, safety car has now been deployed. Safety car has now been deployed. They can't get the car moving. So that's actually going to really make it interesting now because Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc on fresher tyres. They've got a box now. Verstappen's going to come into the pits now on his hard tyres as a result of this. It's going to actually really suit him as well. Same for Perez. They're going to really take advantage from this. So as I thought they might be able to race, it's actually going to benefit the Red Bulls the most. They're going to come back into the pits for another set of hard tyres, one imagines, to go even longer into this race with hard tyres. Yeah, they are. And it's going to really benefit them now. My word. Oh, no, that's not going to be great. Yeah, so that means that we're going to see the Red Bulls on fresh tyres as we resume. Alonso also been told to box. This will suit him. Will Leclerc do the same thing? They may as well. Why not? I don't understand why you wouldn't. You may as well do it. He comes into for fresh hard tyres as Perez as well. Good pit stops for Red Bull. Norris does get past those Red Bulls as a result. Charles Leclerc moves into 4th position. Alonso's into the pits. Charles Leclerc is on pretty much the same lap old tyres as the Red Bull ahead of him. So that's still going to benefit him quite significantly here. Piastri, will he come to the pits? I don't know if he will, but I don't think he's going to. No, he's not. He moves into 5th position. So, yeah, we're going to have some interesting things happening out here right before the start of this, the resumption, rather, of the race here under safety car conditions. As Tunia says, Ferrari should move to plan H now. Indeed, we can have lots of different strategies here. The safety car is going to come out. Lots of people into the pits to try and take advantage of that. I'm surprised Piastri didn't on 8-lap-old medium tyres. It's very odd for McLaren not to have done that, but we'll see what happens there. Alonso, interestingly, came into the pits for soft tyres. Soft tyres. That is very interesting. People asking what happened to Valtteri Bottas. Well, I can tell you what happened to Valtteri Bottas. He came into the pits and he immediately left the pits because, unfortunately for him, it's not charging. That's all good. He came to the pits. Well, he didn't come to the pits. What am I talking about? I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. Valtteri Bottas' engine died whilst he was coming down the back straight, and as a result, he is out of this race. His engine completely failed, and he is out of this race as a result. And it's caused a safety car because they couldn't move the car under virtual safety car conditions, so they had to call a safety car whilst they get a machine onto the track, or into the track grounds rather, to try and do it. Hamilton's on the radio saying the car is just sliding around everywhere. I don't know. It just feels like something's broken. It's probably just the balance. It's really bad. 2 seconds. Sorry guys about that. I'm just trying to sort out audio and we'll get back to it as per usual, but I'm just trying to find a plug point, which is seemingly possible, but I have to just faff around here a little bit. We're under safety car conditions, so don't go anywhere. We do now have Piastri into the pits, but it's poor strategy from McLaren. They should have put it into the pits earlier. They've only now reacted. I did say it's odd that they didn't put him in. They've only reacted now, and as a result, he's going to lose a lot of positions here. He's moving down and down and down. He's now into 8th position now, just ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. So that wasn't necessarily the best thing. They could have pissed him earlier, and he could have come out around about Sainz and Alonso, but now he's lost a couple of positions as a result. So poor decisions from McLaren regarding Piastri, but everybody's pretty much going to be on fresh tyres as the safety car gets put back into the pits, essentially. But going to be a very interesting race restart here. Something interesting here. Watching a replay of Joe Grand News pit stop. The front right's just causing issues for him, and that's really cost him a little bit. It's cost him a couple of positions, it seems. 5.3 seconds long, that was. So whilst I wait for the other ones to heal up, I'm just going to stay on here for now. How is Sebastian the cat, says Mark, and that is, of course, referring to our mascot, basically our friendly Forever Sports mascot. He's all good. He's a little bit beaten up on his face. He got into a fight the other day, but he's all good. He's all good. That's Sebastian, named after, or you could say named after Sebastian Vettel. He sometimes interrupts our streams. He's not going to be interrupting our streams anymore, unfortunately, not for the foreseeable future, at least because we are no longer streaming from that location, so he's not actually here anymore. But he's all good. He is all good. That's a bold strategy for Alonso on the soft tire. Indeed, it is a very bold strategy. The safety car is still under the safety car conditions right now, so we're going to have a resumption of racing very, very shortly, I imagine, and I want to see how that fares as well. And yeah, I'm just trying to get these these headphones a little bit charged up. They still don't want to seemingly charge, which is a bit odd. But yes, so we've got safety car conditions. Verstappen's in first. He's still got the fastest lap. Lando Norris is in second on fresh tires as well. Leclerc in third. Perez in fourth. Safety car is ending now. The safety car is ending, ladies and gentlemen. So be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Norris saying, we think everyone will try and get on the end of the hard tire and be careful of Alonso, basically, because he's on the soft tire. He's going to try something different here. So the safety car is ending, and yeah, I'm going to see what happens here. Alonso was quicker than Perez when he started the race. So Alonso on soft tires here. This could be a very, very interesting race restart here. Everyone else on hard tires. The hard tires take a little bit longer to heat up compared to the soft tires. So Alonso on the soft tires here could really cause a few issues for some drivers here by getting past all of them. The safety car is ending. I repeat, safety car is ending, which means we're about to have a lot of action out on track. Yeah, so a lot of these guys seemingly going to take these tires to the end. It's going to be interesting. We're going to see these tires basically taken to the end from a lot of these cars. So it's going to be about tire degradation. Suits the Ferraris and the Red Bulls quite well. But pretty much just seeing that we might not see pit stops again for most of these drivers. They're going to stay on these hard tires till the end of the race, we imagine. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Verstappen starting ahead of Norris. Let's see if Norris can try and challenge the Red Bull into turn one, at least make it a little bit interesting. Leclerc also going to be trying to see if he can get further up. The Ferraris here benefiting quite nicely from that safety car. McLaren's Lando Norris did. We now have a green flag, which means as soon as Max Verstappen decides to go, it goes. So he's still weaving around on the back straight there, and the tire cars behind him not, because they just know that they're going to have to wait for him to go for it. And Max Verstappen decides to go for it. Now he's still slow, and now he goes for it. He just waits for that turn, and now we have racing again, and everybody's screaming, oh my word, we've got a pile up. We've got a couple of contacts behind this Stroll. Waits into the back of Ricardo, and so Ricardo has been dropping positions. Max Verstappen's got going with the green flag, and everybody's trying to chase them down. He's got a much better start than Lando Norris in second. Leclerc also quite far behind. He's going to come under challenge from Sergio Perez, but Sainz has got a great start on Sergio Perez. Will he try to make a move on him? Fernando Alonso is already coming under some fire. There's Lance Stroll straight into the pits as a result of that contact. He's unfortunately pretty much going to be losing all his potential points this race weekend. That's not gone well for him. I think it might have even been his fault, but unfortunately a big pile up there as we've got resumption of racing. So Lance Stroll is going to be all the way at the back there in the pits as a result of that damage. Very, very disappointing for him just before we started this race, but nobody seems to have moved so far in the top six. But Piastri's right in the back with George Russell in his McLaren. There's a spin in the background. I can't see who it is. It's RB's. It's RB's Yuki Tsunoda. He's got a puncture on his tire. He's going to have to pull off the track there. He's got a big puncture on his back right tire. So he's out of this race as well. He's going to have to try and get himself off. It's a yellow flag in sector 2. Tsunoda out of this race, it seems. He's trying to get off the tracks and not to cause another safety car or virtual safety car. He's trying to nurse his car into a recovery zone. So I think he might be able to do that. So we're not going to get a virtual safety car. But Yuki Tsunoda now seemingly out of this race as well. And also Magnussen has got a puncture as well. So everybody taking damage from that pile up a little bit. He's got a front left, I think, puncture. It is the front left. Watching a replay of when it was Lance Stroll. Did it Lance Stroll that caused it? Oh, my word. Lance Stroll took a huge hit into the back of everybody, just piled it up. My word, everybody not having fun. And Daniel Ricciardo just getting punted from behind. Safety car has been deployed by FIA. It's been deployed again. Another safety car. I repeat, another safety car. Stroll saying, this idiot just slammed on the brakes ahead of me. So Alonso has a lockup ahead of him. George Russell follows him. Russell has to follow him, so Russell goes around the outside. He has to slam on the brakes there as a result. Then Oscar Piastri slams on the brakes, and RB's Yuki Tsunoda, I think it is, or no, rather Daniel Ricciardo has to also slam on brakes, and Lance Stroll goes ahead of him as a result as well. So I don't think there's going to be any issues with that as well. Kevin Magnussen was seeing where he got his puncture from. He came around on the inside. He took contact with Yuki Tsunoda. Oh, front left connects with Yuki Tsunoda's back right, and as a result, Yuki Tsunoda spins out, and both of them take punctures. Yuki Tsunoda, unfortunate for him, he unfortunately takes a big hit there from, and he says he's out. He's got a big puncture on his tire. I'm surprised he actually said he was out because he just got a puncture on the tire. He could have got back to the pits, I imagine. The tire is pretty much all completely gone. But one surely imagines that he could have got back to the pits there, but he decided to rather go off the track. So he's out of this race as well. Is Yuki Tsunoda. He's out of this race. Ricciardo's instant collision noted. And as James says, I actually think it's very much Stroll's fault. Everybody pretty much goes into the brakes, and he's just really late to it and says, oh, you just slammed on the brakes. Well, why didn't you? You know, one has to argue, why didn't he? Yeah, so, as Abigail said, Alonso may be banking on another collision to change tires again. And I think that's exactly what he might be doing. He might be hoping for yet another safety car before coming into those hard tires to try and take the rest of the race. He's already gone back into 5th position ahead of Sainz during that little resumption. Very interesting from Fernando Alonso's strategy. I don't know if it's going to work. Kevin Magnussen is a menace, James says. Indeed, he's caused a few people to go out, and Kevin Magnussen has managed to make his way back around the track, even with his puncture. He'll be in the pits. We're under safety car conditions again as a result of the debris out on track. Yuki Tsunoda, Valtteri Bottas out. We have had a double safety car, people. And it's been the most interesting little Grand Prix in the middle here. Ricciardo saying we have floor damage, or being told rather we have floor damage. That's not good to hear for the RB. That might be potentially both RB cars out. If he's got floor damage, that might mean that he's not going to be able to finish this race because floor damage is really going to affect his race completely. So let's see what happens for RB here. Will they retire the car? Will they keep going? It seems like they're going to keep going for now to see what the damage is. But unfortunately for Daniel Ricciardo, it might not be the best scenario for him. So safety car right now. Hamilton is going to benefit from this. He's back up into 11th. He might be sniffing at points here. Sainz on the radio. He's gone back to... So they're just discussing, as per usual, Ferrari's alphabet plan. So who knows? Watching Fernando's overtake on Carlos Sainz before that safety car, and he just goes past him on that back straight on the soft tires. It makes easy work of it on the soft tire, and then you can literally see he makes that overtake, and then it immediately goes to the safety car. So did very well, Fernando Alonso, just to get past him, just to take advantage of it. We'll see Yuki Tsunoda now getting recovered out the back there. That's why there was a safety car, because we had a vehicle out on track. But safety car will be ending, I'm hoping, soon. So it is now off the track, which means I imagine the safety car will come into the pits now and we'll have another resumption. And I wonder if Max Verstappen is going to hold them all up again and cause a similar sort of incident that we already saw so far. My word. Very, very interesting race so far in the middle of this race, at least. I mean, it was interesting in the beginning, take away the Red Bulls because they were just flying away. But lots of very different strategies taking place and lots of interesting overtakes happening. It's been an interesting Grand Prix so far. Second safety car for the day in lap 29 of 56. As the commentator said earlier, and as I'm going to say as well right now, it's basically turned into a sprint race. We're basically turning into a sprint race now. We're going to have a resumption here. Lance Stroll just does not touch his brakes at all. He just keeps going straight. It's absolutely bizarre by him. Really, really bizarre. And Daniel Ricciardo manages to get on the brakes early, and then suddenly Lance Stroll just goes right into the back of him. Absolutely terrible from Lance Stroll. Really, really terrible. Hulkenberg could see something coming, and he just goes to the inside line. He's just like, no, I'm going to go to the inside line here, and as a result, he avoids any sort of contact. So he does very well to avoid it. Just foresee pretty much Stroll's lack of going onto the brakes. He's like, oh, Stroll's not going to the brakes here. I'm going to go to the inside here, and avoids any sort of collision. And as a result, we see, the RB and Stroll, the RB of Daniel Ricciardo, takes significant damage. Stroll as well. Zhou Guanyu is going to try and benefit from this. He's in 15th position. Also watching a replay of Kevin Magnussen with Yuki Tsunoda contact in turn 6. And as a result, just causes a bit of a puncture to both cars. Kevin Magnussen down at 17th, Lance Stroll down at 18th. Yuki Tsunoda now out of this race. Yeah, the more I watch the replay of Lance Stroll and Daniel Ricciardo's incident, it's just Lance Stroll's fault. It is terrible by Lance Stroll. Daniel Ricciardo does well to react to suddenly slow, because what causes it all is Fernando Alonso has a lockup. George Russell has to slam on the brakes. Oscar Piastri slams on the brakes. Daniel Ricciardo slams on the brake. And Lance Stroll just goes, doof, doesn't bother to slam on the brakes. So everybody else reacted. Lance Stroll just didn't react. So does that not maybe give you an indication as to who are the better F1 drivers? We've got George Russell, Oscar Piastri, Daniel Ricciardo, and Lance Stroll. All their reaction times being tested there. 3 of them all slammed into the brakes. 1 straight into the back of another car. Gives you a little bit of an indication as to what's happening there. Oh dear, terrible, 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 terrible. So I'm going to go back onto the old headphones right now, 2 seconds. Hopefully they've charged up a little bit, and I'm going to continue using those until such time as maybe they give up, and I'll go back onto these ones. Because I know the other ones are a little bit better. Give me 2 seconds whilst I change back. I believe I'm now back on this microphone, which is quite a bit better in terms of sounding, at least not so gargled as the other one. So hopefully you guys are remaining again, makes it basically into a sprint. So we're basically going to keep these tires on for the rest of the race, one imagines. Yeah, so safety car now being told it's ending. I was wondering when that was going to happen. It's going to be ending now. Safety car will be ending. Whilst we have all of you here, we've got more than 1,000 of you watching. Thank you so much for joining us on Forever Motorsports. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Check out our partner, BITDEFENDER, in the description as well. Click on that link to get yourself award-winning cybersecurity with a little bit of a discount. And yeah, Max Verstappen still leading this race here. And also be sure to like the video, guys. Please like the video. The more likes we get, the more people we get on the channel and on the stream, which makes it much better to go and talk about what's happening out in track. Looking at the comments, a lot of people talking about the safety car ending. Max can overtake the safety car. Max Verstappen having a few jokes with his race engineer about why the safety car is still not coming in. Yeah, anyway, the safety car is now eventually ending. And yeah, so guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think is going to happen as the safety car gets into the pits here, and what happens with the resumption? Are we going to see some fighting from Fernando Alonso? Are we going to see yet another incident before we get going with racing here? Are we going to see Norris, Leclerc, and Perez fight it out with Max Verstappen, or just a fight amongst themselves? Are we going to see an early overtake from Alonso on even Sergio Perez? What's going to happen here? Can Carlos Sainz keep up with Alonso in 6th position down to 5th? Russell and Piastri and Ricciardo still going to fight it out. Will Ricciardo have damage to his car as a result of that incident with Lance Stroll? All these things can happen. Let me know in the comments. What do you think is going to happen here? We're about to have a very interesting resumption. Now, we're on that back straight again. Last time we were here, we saw an incident where Fernando Alonso locked up because he thought Verstappen went, and he didn't, so he had to slam on brakes. Everybody else slammed on brakes behind him, except for Lance Stroll, who then went. It's green flag conditions. It's green flag. So it's only when Max Verstappen decides to go for it, he comes into the corner, and now he goes for it. Now, let's see how close does Norris follow this time. It's not as great a start from Fernando Alonso as Lando Norris rather they thought, but it's much better than the last time. Leclerc's been caught out ever so slightly. Perez is also right on the back of him. Alonso trying to chase Perez down as well. It's really close racing as we get a green flag racing again. No instance so far, but let's see what happens into turn 1. So Lando Norris already dropped quite far off Verstappen. Leclerc dropped off with Lando Norris. Perez right in the back of Leclerc. Alonso also sniffing for blood. Same as Sainz right behind him. George Russell and Piastri also fighting it out. Ricciardo seems to have damage because he seems to be going slower than everybody else around him. Sergio Perez trying desperately to try and catch up to Charles Leclerc, but Alonso is going to be catching Sergio Perez very quickly on soft tires as well. Lewis Hamilton's in the 11th position. Let's see how he can restart here. Can he get into the top 10 and get into points as a result of these safety cars that we've just had? Hulkenberg has now got past Ricciardo. I did say Ricciardo seems to be going slower than the cars around him with that floor damage, and as a result, he's already been taken. He's moved down to 10th position. Hulkenberg in the Haas has moved up into 9th position. Hamilton now chasing down Ricciardo. Hamilton gets past Ricciardo. Ricciardo's got damage. Ricciardo's got serious floor damage. I think they're going to have to retire the car. Both RBs, I don't think are going to finish this race. Just Ricciardo's just dropping further and further. He's just got no pace. The floor definitely damaged. That's so upsetting for Daniel Ricciardo for doing no fault of his own. Did I lose? Did I lose? I did. Yeah, so we're still on these. We're still on this microphone. Actually, I forgot to change the microphone over. It's not a problem. I'm just going to go back to these headphones quickly. We're going to keep on this microphone here, but unfortunately, it looks like Daniel Ricciardo's out of this race, or going to be out of this race. He's just being overtaken by everybody. He's gone wide into the second to last corner here because he just can't seemingly put up with the cars around him. It's really, really, really unfortunate for him. And yeah, he's got floor damage from that earlier incident with Stroll. Fastest lap being put on by Max Verstappen, lap 33 of 56 here. Alexander Albon trying to make up some moves here. He's going to get past Daniel Ricciardo next in that Williams car. Daniel Ricciardo's car just going too slowly, unfortunately. He's not going to be able to finish this race. So looking at the top there, though, interesting. I didn't see any overtakes happening, and nothing has happened yet. Sainz is keeping up with Alonso, but now we have DRS eventually enabled. DRS is now enabled. Ricciardo's radio, let's just see. Yeah, he's got no rear on the exits. It just literally points out to the fact that he's got no rear end on the exits, and that's where he was hit by Lance Stroll. Unfortunately for Daniel Ricciardo, it's so upsetting. He was actually looking for a really, really good race weekend for himself. He was doing better than Yuki Tsunoda for most of it. He was in the points. He could have done something to sort of save what is possibly his very, very tumultuous situation in RB with this race weekend. And unfortunately, through no fault of his own, he's going to have to probably retire this car. He's going so slowly, he can't put up with it. The car's taken too much damage. He's caused a big train behind it. Really, really unfortunate. That's so unfortunate for Daniel Ricciardo. He's going to actually, I think he's going to surely retire this car very shortly. There you go. You can just see all the cars overtaking him on the main finish straight. Logan Sargent has been handed a penalty, meanwhile. Logan Sargent has been handed a penalty, a 10-second time penalty. 10-second time penalty for a safety car infringement. Ricciardo has been told to retire the car. I thought so. And it's so unfortunate for Daniel Ricciardo. He's going to be out of this race. He goes into the pits to go and retire. It's so unfortunate for Daniel Ricciardo, who's going to have a half-decent race today. He's going to go into the pits. And RB will not have a single car finish the race. Lance Stroll's been given a penalty. Damn right, he should be given a penalty. He's caused an issue with Ricciardo. 10-second penalty for Lance Stroll as a result of that incident with Daniel Ricciardo. He's right at the back of the grid still, but now it's pretty much going to make sure that he stays at the back of the grid. Very unfortunate. Lance Stroll caused that incident. Ricciardo out of this race as a result. So, 3 drivers out, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, and Bottas. Magnussen has also received a penalty for that incident, causing Tsunoda to go out of the race. Also, a 10-second time penalty for Kevin Magnussen. He's down in 16th position again. That's also going to ensure that he stays down at the bottom there. Very, very unfortunate for the 3 drivers who are out through no fault of their own. Yuki Tsunoda getting taken out by Kevin Magnussen. Oh, my word. And as a result, they're both obviously upset about these time penalties. Stroll and Magnussen fighting it out right in the back there, 17th and 16th. Might they make some contact? Stroll gets past Magnussen, but will Magnussen fight back at him? He does go around the inside. He's going to continue fighting here, so it's a great little fight between the two of them. They're really going for it at the back here. This is quite entertaining to watch. The two of them really going at it. The Haas and the Aston Martin still alongside each other on the start-finish straight, but it's Magnussen who gets DRS away from Lance Stroll, so Lance Stroll can't do anything about it, unfortunately. Will Lance Stroll try to dive down the inside? He does go down the inside. Will they contact? Will they make contact? Wouldn't it be funny if they both take each other out after taking 2 other drivers out? But they're still fighting it out as they come around the final corner of this race. Logan Sargent, what am I talking about? Logan Sargent. Lance Stroll is still trying to fight it out. He's now come out ahead on the start-finish straight, but now Kevin Magnussen's got DRS. He's going to try to go around the outside of Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll tries to defend away from him, and he goes on the inside, and Kevin Magnussen has to eventually give up, and Lance Stroll eventually makes that position stick. Very, very long battle there. Great battle. It really was quite fun. But it has now finished, and Daniel Ricciardo is so dejected in the RB pits there. He's retired on lap 33. Everyone giving him the all consoling him, because he's really upset about it, because that was through no fault of his own. I mean, he couldn't do anything about it, and he's out of this race. He was doing really, really well, but unfortunately he's out of it now. So looking here, Norris is making up time compared to Perez. So he's getting further and further away from Sergio Perez behind him. He's making up quite a lot of time compared to Charles Leclerc as well. Alonso, on the soft tires, unable to do anything really, and he's going to start dropping later on. So he was hoping another incident would happen. No incident so far. They're still going to have to hold out for another incident to affect them. Fernando Alonso, though, in the Aston Martin is the only remaining chance for points, because Lance Stroll's way out of it for points. So Alonso on the soft tire, not necessarily the best decision. Should have just come out on the hard tires and backed themselves to go further up. But he's keeping the DRS to Sergio Perez. That's what's so crucial for him. Watching a replay here of Nico Hülkenberg coming out of the pits. Let's see what happens here. He gets nice and close to the Williams. That's the Sargent's. It's Williams' Sargent. That's very unfortunate for Logan Sargent, watching a penalty to see what the safety car infringement was for. Hulkenberg came out of the pits and just crossed that safety car line, literally about 0.05 seconds before Logan Sargent did. Logan Sargent still went around him because he thought he was in front of it, but apparently not. So basically what's happened is that's why he got a penalty. And it looks like we are retiring a car for Lance Stroll. 10-second penalty, rather. So they're going into the pits for Lance Stroll. He's serving his 10-second penalty. He's now changed onto his hard tire, and he's coming out of the pits. I was wondering why they were waiting for ages there, but that's why Lance Stroll into the pits and serves his 10-second penalty for Aston Martin before he can go out there. I'm sure they're going to try and get him to do a fastest lap attempt maybe at the end of the race, but it doesn't matter because he's not in the top 10. So I don't know if they're going to try and go for that. Maybe they try and steal a fastest lap away from anybody in the top 10. Norris on the radio have been told for low speed understeer we suppress engine braking. And he says, no, thank you. Norris not taking the advice of his engineers. That's quite funny. Yes, the map has frozen for now. 2 seconds. We're going to get it back. Don't worry about that. We will get it back. It's currently a little bit frozen. So I'll try and see if we can sort that out in 2 seconds. Just give me 2 seconds whilst I try to get that sorted. We'll try and get that working for you now. We'll see if it's our issue or on the other end, but we're going to try and get that back up for you. But meanwhile, I'll keep going here. Don't leave. We will keep going here. Don't worry. I think it's everybody else's issue as well. So let's see what's happening here out on track. We've currently got Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc fighting for third place. Sergio Perez right behind Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc third position. Sergio Perez in fourth. Fernando Alonso still behind Sergio Perez as well, although he seems to have lost DRS to him, and as a result, he's dropping quite quickly. Now, Perez and Charles Leclerc, what will happen here? Will Perez be able to get past the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc? I don't know. We're going to have to wait to see if that actually does happen. Yeah, just give us 2 seconds for this map and we'll try and get it working. I don't know why it's frozen, but we'll try and get that back for you in 2 seconds' time. Yeah, going to the comments here. China 2024, chaos on and off the track. Indeed. Yeah, lap 37 of 56 for this Grand Prix. And Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez seem to be the ones that we're focusing on right now. George Russell has not got close enough to Sainz for DRS. So we're not really seeing too many overtakes otherwise. It's not been the greatest resumption after that safety car. I was hoping something else would happen. But the interval from Verstappen to Norris is currently 3.2 seconds. Perez having a little bit of a look down the inside of Charles Leclerc's line, not able to make any sort of attempt yet. So now let's see. Sergio Perez getting nice and close to the back of Charles Leclerc. And let's see what's happening here in terms of this overtake attempt by Sergio Perez on Charles Leclerc for third position, for the final podium position right now. So let's see what happens. Sergio Perez is going faster than Charles Leclerc, but only just. Lap 38 of 56. We're still going here. Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc still fighting out. We're fixing the maps up for you now. We're going to try and get it up and working right now. Don't worry, we'll get back in 2 seconds. So don't go anywhere. We're going to get that fixed nice and quickly for you. Meanwhile, as I say, nothing else happened out on track, just to give you a position so that you guys still understand. Verstappen in first, Norris in second, Leclerc in third, Perez in fourth, Fernando Alonso in fifth, Sainz in sixth, Russell in seventh, Piastri in eighth, Hulkenberg in ninth, and Hamilton now into the top 10. Getting points for himself in the Mercedes in 10th position, as I say. Ocon in 11th, Albon in 12th, Gasly in 13th, Sargent in 14th, Joe Granier in 15th, Kevin Magnussen in 16th, and Lance Stroll in 17th. The other three drivers, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, and Bottas, are all out of the session. And our map is back up and running, so no worries there. We are all back up and running. So sorry about that. We have managed to get that back up, and we're good. So come back, please. We've seen a couple of you leave as a result, but do come back. Zhou Guanyu now making an attempted overtake on Logan Sargent, and he gets past him. So the Chinese crowd, a little bit appreciative of that. Zhou Guanyu gets past Logan Sargent. He moves into 14th position on the hard tire. But Logan Sargent will now have DRS to try and come back at the Chinese driver, but I don't think it's going to affect us. And there we go. This is Perez, makes his move on Charles Leclerc, and he gets past him into third position. Charles Leclerc has unfortunately lost him, but Charles Leclerc is trying to fight back at Perez. Will he be able to come back at him? He's trying to go around for the switcheroo, but Perez does manage to hold on to it for now. But will Charles Leclerc be able to hold on to DRS with Perez and come back at him? Will he make another move? It's going to be an interesting battle here before the end of the race. But Leclerc and Perez having a fight it out, and Perez moved into third position now. I think Leclerc is not going to be able to come back at him, and he's going to get DRS still, but I think he's too far back compared to Perez, so he's going to need to use this DRS to get close to the Red Bull, but the Red Bull seems to be going so much quicker. Leclerc on the radio. So Leclerc just asked on the radio, are we sure we are pushing for Plan D? Because the tyres are not great, and he says we believe everybody is pushing for Plan D. So I'm hoping that that means basically they're going to keep going on these tyres till the end here. But I think Leclerc is just complaining because I don't think he can keep up to Perez on these tyres. Watching a replay of Sergio Perez, it's turn 6 that he makes his move. He decides to go around the inside of Charles Leclerc to turn 6. A very brave move, and he makes it stick. Charles Leclerc tries to switch on him, but just unable to keep up with that Red Bull car. And as a result, Charles Leclerc has been taken. He moves down into 4th. Sergio Perez up into 3rd. Lando Norris, though, still comfortably in 2nd position right now. Not too bad for him. It's only under 5 seconds to Max Verstappen ahead of him. And he's got a gap of 5.4 seconds to Perez behind him. So he's comfortably in nice air for himself. Charles Leclerc still desperate to try and hold on to Sergio Perez, but he's dropped out of DRS now. Piastri on the radio saying, mate, how much damage do I have? He's been told that damage is significant. Oh my word, Piastri's got damage from that earlier incident from Ricciardo going to the back of him. So, yeah, Piastri, I didn't think had damage, but he does have damage. And unfortunately, that means that he's going to struggle down there in 8th position. So Piastri does also have damage. Really unfortunate for him. The battle for 6th is currently underway with Sainz and Russell. Russell on the back of Carlos Sainz and his Mercedes, of course, Russell. And he's trying to use DRS to get as close to Carlos Sainz as possible. But for now, Carlos Sainz holds him behind him. And the gap from Russell to Piastri is 5.6 seconds. Piastri really struggling to keep up. Hamilton now trying to make an overtake on Nico Hulkenberg. He's in the Mercedes trying to switcheroo tactic on the Haas. Will he be able to get past him? No, he's going to have to try and wait for the next corner. He's right in the back of him. Will Hamilton be able to make a position and get into ninth position as he goes down the start finish straight? His DRS is open. He's going to be following the Haas. Nico Hülkenberg can see the Mercedes driver right behind him. What will Hamilton do here? Will he go around the outside? Will he go? No, he's going to have to stay another lap here. But Lewis Hamilton could be trying to make up a point within the next lap or so here. Zhou Guanyu's just dropped 2 positions. I want to see what happens here. Has Zhou Guanyu gone off? No, Zhou Guanyu's gone into the pits, unfortunately. He's going to have to go into the pits. So Zhou Guanyu into the pits. He's dropping positions as a result of that. Lap 41 of 56. We're still going here on a lot of people on hard tires, a few on medium tires as well. Alonso still on the soft tires. Not losing too much time on the soft tires, I will note. But still on the soft tires towards the end of the race. I think it's going to be a bit of a problem. So we'll have to see what happens there. Unfortunate for him. Lewis Hamilton now making an overtake attempt on Nico Hülkenberg. He does make it. There you go. Same place that Sergio Perez pretty much did it. And there you go. Lewis Hamilton gets past the Haas driver. He moves into 9th position, now chasing down Oscar Piastri, who's down in 8th. Lewis Hamilton not having the greatest start of the race, but since the safety cars really had it out for him, and he's now managed to get quite a few places, and it's really benefited him. He's now into the points quite comfortably in 9th position. He's chasing down Oscar Piastri, who has damage in 8th position. I think Oscar Piastri might well fall quite quickly as well. Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas one, in 10th position now. Hamilton in 9th in the Mercedes. He's now going to be chasing down the McLaren on Oscar Piastri. George Russell in his Mercedes still trying to get close to Carlos Sainz, not able to. And yeah, just watching that replay again in turn, I think it is turn 6, or was it turn 7 that Hamilton decides to make this move. He goes down the inside of Nico Hülkenberg and yeah, he makes that overtake stick. Very, very good overtake by Lewis Hamilton. So Mercedes a little bit happier now that Lewis Hamilton's into the top 10. The McLarens were happy that they were both in top 10. Lando Norris still currently in 2nd position, is doing very, very well there, staying 5 seconds ahead of Perez. Perez not being able to catch him. Leclerc is still only about 1.1 seconds behind Perez, so he's not dropped off of Perez, which is good to see. So hopefully, towards the end of the race, we might still see some fighting between the two of them, provided Leclerc doesn't lose any time. He'll try and get within DRS range of Sergio Perez ahead of him and trying to have some fighting near the end of this race. So great to see some action still out on track. Max Verstappen's gap to Lando Norris, though, 6.3 seconds. So unless we have another instant, it looks like Max Verstappen will run away to another victory again. Yeah, that's a good point. Something's happened out on track. I think there was a big noise from the crowd. I think Lando Norris just having a bit of a lockup in 2nd position, and he's lost a whole second to Perez now. Perez now 4.1 seconds up. He lost a whole second to Perez behind him now. Lando Norris also not good for him because that means that his tires are now going to be a little bit more degraded. Perez is now catching up to him a little bit more, 3.8 seconds behind him. So he's really lost quite a bit of time there, Lando Norris. He was 5.1 seconds, it's now 3.7 in just one little lockup. So Lando Norris makes a small mistake, and yeah, as a result, he's lost time to Verstappen and to Perez. So Leclerc still needs to try and keep up with Perez. He's now 1.4 seconds behind him. But if he can get there closer, he might be able to do something. DRS now for Nico Hülkenberg. So Kevin Magnussen on Logan Sargent ahead of him. Sorry, I thought it was Nico Hülkenberg. It is Kevin Magnussen on Sargent trying to catch up to him. Let's see what happens there. Old Man Blue saying, I hope Oscar can get home. Very eventful race indeed. Oscar Piastri still managing to hold on to 8th right now. And an overtake attempt is being made successful by Kevin Magnussen on Logan Sargent. Kevin Magnussen on the medium tyre, Logan Sargent on the hard tyre. So not really unexpected. But Kevin Magnussen moves into 13th position. Perez has made up a whole second to Lando Norris as a result of that mistake from Lando Norris. A guy who wants to use it, apparently, supposedly in the grandstand. If he is in the grandstand, he's saying that, yes, that was locked up at the second to last turn. So, yeah. Maybe that's exactly where he's lost the turn. I think it is exactly where he did it. I did see a small bit of a lockup in the background. Kevin Magnussen watching a replay of him make this overtake on Logan Sargent. Great from him in the Haas. And Logan Sargent drops down into 14th position. So Lando Norris now does see Sergio Perez in his rearview mirror. Leclerc is starting to drop a little bit more compared to Perez. He's got slightly older tires compared to Perez, but Alonso on the soft tires now eventually comes into the pits. He banked on something happening, but unfortunately it didn't happen for him. He's going to have to come into the pits here on a soft tire, and it's really unfortunate. He's going to drop out of the points, I imagine, as a result of this. Don't know why they backed him on the soft tire. They should have gone on something else. But he now comes out on the medium tire in the pits. He's coming out in 10th, now 11th. I think he's going to do a drop to 12th. Will he get out ahead of Kevin Magnussen? I think he will indeed. So he's going to come out in 12th position. Alonso is now out of the points. He's going to have to try and chase down Alex Albon, Ocon, and Hulkenberg to try and get anything from this race to salvage. And it's really unfortunate for Aston Martin's Alonso. They banked on the soft tire. I don't know why, but he's now going to have to try and fight it out in the medium tire for the last 11 laps of this race. 12 laps, actually. Perez not being able to make up much more time to Lando Norris ahead of him, still sticking at about 3.9 seconds. Leclerc, though, dropping off of Sergio Perez, 1.6 seconds now. Sainz, 9.5 seconds behind Leclerc, but Russell not able to catch up to the Ferrari either. He's only 2.1 seconds now behind. Piastri still staying ahead of Lewis Hamilton, now in 7th, obviously, because of Fernando Alonso's pit stop. So Piastri still holding on to it, even with damage, managed to stay ahead of Hamilton and the ones behind him. So if he manages to hold on to 7th, McLaren will be very, very chuffed. With all of that. As Lindier says, weird strategy calls for Alonso, Sargent, Sainz rather, and Zhou. Indeed, very, very weird for all of them. But nonetheless, they're going to have to, bear the fruits of their fruition, of their decisions and everything. So, unfortunately for Fernando Alonso, he's going to be all the way down. In 12th right now, he's going to have to try and fight his way back towards the points before the end of this race. Jessica asking, do you think Norris will get his first win this season? It all depends on Verstappen's performances in between, because I think the McLaren's quick enough, as we see, to get anywhere near the top there, but I don't know if they can beat the Red Bulls and Max Verstappen. If he has another incident like he did where he had problems with his brake, or they have any sort of reliability issues in the race, maybe, but otherwise I don't think Max Verstappen will concede a position anytime soon to anybody, let alone Lando Norris in his McLaren. People are hoping so. Though that's true. People are still hoping so. Lindy is saying F1 News teams to meet virtually to discuss placing points for P11 and P12. And are you being serious, or are you just? Or was that? I actually don't know about that. If that is a thing, I don't know if that's going to happen. I would be surprised if it does happen. Stab saying, I hope Norris holds on to P2. He deserves a podium at least. I think he should hold on to a podium position. Right now, his gap to Perez is still good. He's still holding on to it at a decent level. So he should be able to hold on to P2 as well. So it would be a great result for him, given all the various things that's happened. Great result for Norris. But let's see if he can actually hold on to it. As Transit Fate says, terrible strategy for Aston Martin during the safety car. I was surprised they came out into the soft tire. Should have just come out into at least mediums, if not hards. Just to try to stay near the top there. He would have got points, 100% Alonso, if he'd come in from the hards, but instead he went into the soft tires and has to have had a pit as a result. He's now only 11th. He's managed to get past Alex Albon. He's into 11th position now, chasing down Ocon. Will he be able to chase down Hulkenberg and Hamilton in time as well, though? On the medium tire, he's got the fastest lap now, though, so he's pushing the car as hard as he can, because that's what he can do, because now the medium tires doesn't have to worry about degradation. He's got enough time to do whatever he wants on these tires, so at least he can do that. Will he be able to catch up to Hamilton, maybe even Piastri? So he could try and salvage a 7th place here, Alonso, but it's really got to move. So basically what we're going to do here, ladies and gentlemen, is watch what happens to Fernando Alonso for the remainder of this race. He's up into 11th now. He's got past Alex Albon. He's chasing down the next, right on the back of Esteban Ocon for that last points position. So he's all over the back of him, and they have to hold on to their tires. So Fernando Alonso can do whatever he wants on these tires. So let's see how he does. He's going to go nice and quickly down the inside, and there he goes. He takes it. It gets past the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. He moves into 10th. Alonso making short work of those two cars. Now looks at Hulkenberg and Hamilton ahead of him, as well as Piastri. Could he even maybe... No, he won't be able to catch up to Russell, but he could be able to get to 7th with 10 laps to go. Just 10 laps to go. Fernando Alonso could do whatever he wants here to try and make as much time up as possible. He might even be able to get past Piastri. Brilliant job so far from Fernando Alonso on these medium tires. Let's see how he fares. How quickly does he catch up to Hulkenberg and Hamilton? Jessica asking why did Ricardo retire? He took damage from Lance Stroll going into the back of him. Too much damage, had to retire the car. The floor was way too damaged. Lindiwe saying, the commentator, you forgot my name. That's horrible. Horrible. You've been here so many times and you forgot my name. That's poor. My name's Mark. Indeed, as Bob says. His name is Mark, right? It is indeed. Mentioned it, and Nico Rosberg added a comment to it. Nico is not in favor, unless you're talking about a commentator in Formula One. Indeed, if you are, then that's understandable. Mentioned it, and Nico Rosberg added a comment to it. Nico is not in favor of it. I don't think anything will happen for it, Lindiwe. I think it's going to be an odd one. I don't think they'll add points there. What I think they might do, though, is try to find ways of making racing a little bit closer, though. I will say that much. Yanni is saying, I think all positions should get the same points. It's not winning that's important. It's competing and being all-inclusive. Aw, isn't that cute? Not going to happen. Lap 47 of 56. Fernando Alonso is trying to chase down Hulkenberg. He's within DRS range of him already. And let's see if Fernando Alonso can get past Hulkenberg nice and quickly. He needs to get these positions sorted quite quickly, because if he takes long to overtake, he's just going to take more degradation to his tires. He can't afford to be behind cars for too long, so he needs to get past them as quickly as possible. Now, Alonso is really close to Hulkenberg as he comes down a start-finish straight. Well, not the start-finish straight, but coming towards that back straight. So as Hamilton will be looking in his rearview mirror, he'll be seeing Fernando Alonso getting ever closer to Lewis Hamilton. And he'll be worried a little bit about that Aston Martin, who is just motoring on the track right now with the fastest lap as well. As he gets closer and closer and closer to Hulkenberg, he's got DRS wide open on his medium tyres. He's right going on the back of him. He's got it down the inside. It'll make short work of Hulkenberg. He moves now into 9th position. Alonso really motoring on his brand new medium tyres. He's now chasing down a former teammate of his, one of many, Alonso that is. He's chasing down Lewis Hamilton, who at one point, they're both, of course, in those McLaren cars. Fernando Alonso will be chasing down Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion. And I think he'll make light work of it, if I'm frank, when he gets there. You should be able to pass Piastri as well, Alonso, before the end of this race, if he does make short work of Hamilton. But I don't think he's going to get anywhere further than that. But can he be able to even get into 7th? That's the big question. He's got to get past Lewis Hamilton and Oscar Piastri. Lewis Hamilton's yet to catch up to Oscar Piastri, which just shows how Oscar Piastri is managing his damaged car. But I think Fernando Alonso, these fresh mediums, will be catching Hamilton quite quickly. Already 1.6 seconds behind. It was 2.3. It's now 1.6. Really catching him quite quickly. Science on the radio. Hey, that's the more brave strategy that Ferrari just said for Fernando Alonso. They're worried about Fernando Alonso. They reckon that Fernando Alonso will be thereabouts with Carlos Sainz at the end of the race. He's got to get through traffic, but they said that they reckon Alonso might be competing with Carlos Sainz at the end of this race. If he is competing with him, that's insane. If Fernando Alonso managed to get anywhere near there, I was thinking like he might be lucky to even get close to Russell. But if he can get past Russell and get close to Sainz, that's ridiculous racing from Fernando Alonso if he manages that. But first, he's got to get past Lewis Hamilton, but he's within DRS range of him already. He's chasing down the back straight in the next lap, and he's on the DRS. How close can he get to Lewis Hamilton? He's really motoring on these medium tyres, is Fernando Alonso. He's right to the back of Lewis Hamilton already. Lewis Hamilton can see him in his rearview mirror. He's not going to be able to take him right now, I don't think, Fernando Alonso. But will he be able to get close to him on the start-finish straight? As he comes around the final corner, he's gone around lock. Oh, he's gone into the gravel slightly. Took a little bit. He went too far. He's really pushing it, is Fernando Alonso. He's lost a couple of milliseconds as a result of that. Will he have tyre damage as a result of that as well? He's still staying close to Hamilton. He's still within DRS range of him. He's really on the back of him. But that might affect his. It just shows how hard he is attacking Fernando Alonso. Just slightly to the gravel, almost lost it, but managed to get it back on. And he's still fighting with Lewis Hamilton. He's trying to go down the inside. He's not going to do it with DRS. He's just going to do it plain and simple. Fernando Alonso right in the back. He's going to go around the inside of Lewis Hamilton. He's going to make it stick as well. Brilliant racing from Fernando Alonso. Great recovery off that small mistake. He goes past Lewis Hamilton into 8th position on medium tyres, motoring in this Aston Martin. Really going. Brilliant from Fernando Alonso. PCY Chance 61 asking, who could be the driver of the day? Well, I wonder who. We're talking about the man himself, Fernando Alonso, making all the overtakes right at the engine. How far can he get up on these medium tyres right at the engine? Make short work of Lewis Hamilton. And after that reaction, my word, brilliant reaction. We saw Carlos Sainz do that in the sprint qualifying, in qualifying, and he went straight into the wall as a result. Fernando Alonso reacted so quickly, he stays on the track. Not a problem for him at all. Brilliant from Fernando Alonso, and to make an overtake, not just like 4 corners later. Brilliant Brilliant for Fernando Alonso so far. Come on, Fernando Alonso. Let's see if you can try and compete with Sainz near the end of this race. All eyes on Fernando Alonso. Now, he's just got past Oscar Piastri as well. That just happened out of nowhere. We weren't even watching him. He's just got past Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso. Piastri, of course, couldn't do much about it with a bit of damage to the car. But Fernando Alonso already got past Piastri. He's chasing down George Russell, although it's 11 seconds to try and make up. It's a long, long time to make up, but he's making up about 2 seconds a lap at the moment. So 7 laps to make it up. He should be able to catch up to George Russell, but I'm not sure he'll be able to catch up to Sainz. I think Sainz will be safe, but George Russell might be in danger right at the end of this lap here. Zhou Guanyu's managed to get past the Sargent on the soft tyre. He's now chasing down Pierre Gasly, but getting a big cheer from the crowd, of course, local crowd for Zhou Guanyu. But all eyes on Alonso. How quickly can he chase down Russell? I don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, he's not got a lot of time to do it, but Ferrari reckoned that he could catch him. So let's see if Fernando Alonso can. Watching a replay of that overtake on Hamilton, just got dives down the inside, makes short work of him on those medium tyres. I just want to see the overtake on Piastri because he made that very quickly as well. Brilliant, brilliant driving from Fernando Alonso. Whilst you guys are here, to give your support for Fernando Alonso, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. If you guys do that, I'm sure we'll try and get his message across. So, Fernando Alonso now 10.6 seconds behind Russell. He's made up a second and a half and about 3/4 of a lap. So can he make up enough time to George Russell before the end of the race to make an overtake and get into 6th position in his Aston Martin? Lando Norris right now is chasing down a 15th career podium in 2nd position. He's 11 seconds behind Verstappen, but he's managed to make the gap up to Perez to 5 seconds. Leclerc's dropped off to 3.5 seconds. So it looks like the top 5 are pretty much set in stone. It's whether Alonso can get past George Russell for 6th position before the end of this race. Just over 5 laps remaining. Hamilton is at least in the points. Will he be able to get past Piastri before the end of this race? I imagine Piastri with a little bit of damage might be able to try and do something. Lewis Hamilton is getting slowly closer to Oscar Piastri, but he's taken a long time to try and catch up to the McLaren ahead of him. McLaren apparently does have damage. That is Oscar Piastri's McLaren. Apparently does have a little bit of damage. So let's see if he manages to actually get close enough to him. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Fernando Alonso still with the fastest lap at 10th. I don't think Verstappen's going to be able to steal that away from him. So Alonso will at least get an extra point for fastest lap. As long as he finishes in the top 10. He's currently 7th, still chasing down George Russell. He's now within 10 seconds of George Russell. He's within 10 seconds. Let's see how quickly he can chase him. Really going to need to chase. Old Man Vu says exactly what so many people say. Alonso is so excited when he's fired up. It's one of the reasons why he's one of my favorite drivers of all time for Formula One, because he's just such an aggressive driver. And he's 41 years old, don't forget. 41 years old, and he's still reacting like this. It's unbelievable word from him. Lindy was saying Perez needs to finish P2 to sweeten his side of the contract negotiation, especially on Red Bull's 100th pole weekend. Indeed, Jessica saying, how does Max just continuously become faster and faster? Gasly saying, what an absolute idiot to Logan Sargent, just pushing him off the track there. Pierre Gasly not happy with him at all. Max Verstappen's gap is huge. 12 seconds right now. Perez has started to make up a little bit of time to Lando Norris ahead of him, but within 5 seconds. But I don't think it's enough time to make it up for the rest of this. Alonso, though, to George Russell, I'm not sure he's going to make up enough time before the end of this race. He's really trying to motor his car around. You can just see him pushing in that Aston Martin. 9.5 seconds behind George Russell right now. 9.1 seconds now. Ooh, what's happened to George Russell? I almost feel like George Russell's lost time rather than Fernando Alonso. He's chasing down for 6th. He's not got a lot of time to do it. Just about 5 laps to do it, does Fernando Alonso. But will he be able to make up 9 seconds in just under 5 laps? 9 seconds. He's gained 4 seconds over the last 5 laps. And needs to gain basically double that. I don't think it's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I think he's too far behind. But he can make it up. Maybe he can do it. Russell's losing time, don't forget, as well. So even though Alonso's making up time, not necessarily enough time, Russell will be losing time every lap. So one imagines Alonso can try and make it up. 8.7 seconds is now the gap. I still think it's too much. Unfortunately. James is saying, second safety car ruined this race. Would have been great to watch Norris, Leclerc, and Alonso on fresh tyres around Red Bulls, who had then still lit again. Indeed, it would have been. Unfortunately, the second safety car did cause a big problem there. And I wonder who actually is more at fault for that. Was it Leclerc? Was it Stroll because there was debris on the track there? That's what they were clearing for quite a while there. Or was it Kevin Magnussen and Yuki Tsunoda because they had a vehicle out on track, which I actually think caused the first safety car. So, yeah, I don't know who to blame there. But unfortunately, it did a little bit ruin the race. But it would have been fun if we had another safety car out near the end there. Everybody else come on softs and just fight it out. That would have been fun. Because I think Fernando Alonso could have done something then on the soft tyres right at the end because, we saw how quickly he wasn't qualifying yesterday. There and thereabouts with the Red Bulls. Fernando Alonso is properly going after Russell. He's 7.8 seconds away from him. I don't know. He's not going to be able to catch him, I don't think. He's going to have to try and get into DRS range quickly as possible, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I think he's got too much. I think he's if he had an extra lap, I think he might have been able to do it. But I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I think George Russell will hold on to 6th. Looking at Alonso, he only made up 1.3 seconds a lap, which is big, but it's not big enough. He's going to have to make up more time in the lap to get closer to George Russell. He's really got to push. He's got to hope that George Russell makes a mistake. Now we're on board with Pierre Gasly, who's trying to get past Kevin Magnussen for 13th position. Pierre Gasly goes down the inside line. Oh, he's gone a little bit wide though. And he does at least make up that position. He goes into 13th position with 3 laps to go. Max Verstappen has now crossed the start-finish line. 3 laps remaining in this race. As Cora says, Max, when he wins this Grand Prix, will have won 50% of the races since the last Chinese Grand Prix in 2019. That is 53 separate races that Max Verstappen has won since then. It is insane. It is ridiculous. It just shows how quick that Red Bull car is, as well as Max Verstappen, of course. And let's see what happens here. Lando Norris will pretty much hold on to 2nd unless something else happens. Perez still only 5 seconds behind him. Leclerc, again, 4th. Sainz, 5th. Russell in 6th. Alonso, 7.1 seconds behind Russell right now in 7th position. I still think it's too much time. Hamilton, 1.1 seconds behind Piastri. Could Hamilton try and make up a position before the end of this? Zhou Guanyu now making an attempt on Magnussen on the soft tyres. Zhou Guanyu goes down the inside and the back finish straight with DRS. Gets past the Haas. He moves into 14th position for himself. And the crowd appreciate that as well. As he moves into 14th, does Zhou Guanyu. Alonso now 6.9 seconds to Russell. I still think it's way too much time to make up. Way too much time, unfortunately. Zhou Guanyu bringing the crowd to their feet. Of course, he is from Shanghai, so the Shanghai local crowd very much appreciative of their local boy out on the track. He's into 14th position now. Zhou on the radio. He's saying, let's get Gasly, guys. Come on. He's getting amped. He's getting fired up for 13th position, which is really not great. But anyway, it's great to see him. He's enjoying himself. He's the last remaining. Oh, my word. Something on his front wing fell off this car there, just by the way. A part of his front wing has just come off completely. Max Verstappen still finishing up his lap here. He's into his final 2 laps here, almost into the final lap. 2 laps for Alonso to make up 6.7 seconds. Never going to happen. So Alonso's going to hold on to 7th. There was a brave maneuver from him. Unfortunately, not enough in the end to catch up to George Russell. It's never going to be enough, unfortunately. I did think it was going to be a bit of a risk. Ferrari reckoning that he could have caught up to Sainz. Never going to happen. Alonso, never going to happen, I think, in his next 2 laps, as I say, catching up to George Russell. But still brave from him to get up into 7th after coming back out into 12th. Verstappen a little bit worried about his tyres, doing the usual Verstappen thing. He said he's gone over a little bit of debris. Just please check my tyres. So we're almost into the final race here. Lando Norris is going to come out here in 2nd position. Great race for him. Piastri still holding on to points, which is also very good for himself in 8th position. Hamilton still can't get closer to Piastri, so he's done very well to manage that. Hamilton not having the greatest day, but still managed at least to get into the points from 18th up to 9th. Not too bad from him. But I still think Alonso gets driver of the day quite easily. Even though he started up in 3rd and is only finishing at 7th, he still gets driver of the day. The number of overtakes he's done, the racing he's given us, we knew that he was never going to hold on to near the top there. He's done very well to hold on to what would be 7th. He could have come out a little bit earlier. I still think it was the wrong strategy. But nonetheless, Fernando Alonso will come out in 7th position. So our top 10 is pretty much firmly in place. I don't think we're going to see any more overtakes as we start the final race lap now. Max Verstappen starting the final lap around the Shanghai circuit here. People are pretty much leaving already. They don't need to leave. The race is not over yet. James was saying, imagine Max got a puncture from that Zhou end plate. Well, that would be quite the story, wouldn't it? That would be quite the story. Get a big puncture, goes off the track, and otherwise loses all that time. Norris and Perez go past. Norris gets his first race win. Wouldn't that be the thing? Wouldn't that be something incredible? It's not going to happen, though. I don't think it will happen. So it would have been quite scary if that sort of thing did happen. But yeah, a lot of people in the comments just giving some love for the stream. Very much appreciative of you, and thank you so much, guys, for watching as well. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Check out our channel partners in the description as well. I've been Mark, unless you guys don't know that. Thank you guys so much for joining me so far. We're still watching Max Verstappen finishing up his final lap here. Everybody else also finishing up. Alonso's managed to get his gap to Russell down to 5 seconds. Certainly not enough to take Russell in this final lap there. Verstappen on board. He's coming down the final start-finish straight. And Verstappen coming around the final couple of corners for the Shanghai circuit. A little bit of a drift coming out of that corner there. And yeah, he comes around the final corner. Max Verstappen takes the race win here in Shanghai as he goes around, swivels on the start-finish straight, and he gets the start-finish straight done. He has done this race in first position once again for Max Verstappen on the weekend of their 100th podium, 100th pole start. Lando Norris comes around as well. He's super chuffed, as well as the engineers. He gets second position. He's super chuffed about that. He gets second. Perez comes off in third. So 2 Red Bulls and a McLaren on the podium. Leclerc and Sainz will come over in 4th and 5th, respectively. Leclerc's in 4th, Sainz in 5th, Russell in 6th, Alonso with the fastest lap in 7th position comes across the line. Piastri held on to 8th position, Hamilton in 9th, Hulkenberg making up the rest of the points in 10th position. A great race for a lot of drivers, and unfortunately the second safety car maybe ruining a little bit of what we could have had, but still making it a little bit more interesting than it was. And I still think Fernando Alonso's strategy with Aston Martin wasn't necessarily the best car in the softs. Still think he could have finished a little bit higher, perhaps maybe around 6th or 5th. But yeah, nonetheless, he managed to get himself into 7th position right near the end there. Great racing from him. He's my driver of the day. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the stream. Great to see some good driving here in Shanghai. The local boy, Zhou Guanyu, couldn't make up any more points than that. Well, couldn't get any points. Only finished up in 14th. We had 3 drivers not finished. Bottas, Tsunoda, and Ricciardo. Sargent and Stroll right at the end. At back of the track, Magnussen 15th. Zhou in 14th, Gasly in 13th, Albon 11th, 12th, and Ocon in 11th position. So, Lando Norris has apparently been voted driver of the day by the vote. I still think it should have been Fernando Alonso, but nonetheless, I think most of us would feel like that for it. He started 4th, finished 2nd. Lando Norris. He's onto the podium again, getting some good points for McLaren. A great race weekend, a great race day, and I've been Mark on Forever Motorsports. Thank you so much for watching us. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and join us for all future motorsports content. For now, cheerio.